No. Goatee? Maybe. Beard? Beard! Feel neglected? Not doing too well with the ladies? Well, I've got the solution for you! Low self-esteem? Throw a beer! Afraid to follow your dreams? Throw a beer! Are you lonely and sad? Throw a beer! You wanna look good and plaid? Throw a beer! Are you working out? Throw a beer! Did your car break down? Throw a beer! Ice caps melting? Throw a beer! Are you stuck in the middle of nowhere and you need to make an important phone call but the battery's dead and you can't find an outlet to plug in your charger? Grow a beard! Grow the beard, feed the beard, brush the beard, manscape the beard, stroke the beard, love the beard, fear the beard, obey the beard, obey the beard, obey the beard, behold the beard, obey the beard, accept the beard, obey the beard, respect the beard, obey the beard.
Oh my God. Becky, look at his beard. It's just so beard.
Your enemies with the beard. Catch a fish with the beard. Roundhouse kick with the beard. Troll the nets with the beard. Chia pets, beard. Drive a truck with the beard. Try your luck with the beard. Arm wrestle with the beard. Teenage Mutant Ninja beard. Pet the doggy with the beard. Pledge allegiance to the beard. Can't grow a beard, then buy a beard. Do you have a beard? Then grow more beard.
You need to shave this thing.
Shut up, Grandma! Grow a beard! Dump in the beard, drink to the beard, cause beards are good and scruff! Obey the beard! Behold the beard! Obey the beard! Accept the beard! Obey the beard! Respect the beard! Obey the beard! I was so empty and lost inside till I grew you. I put my faith in my facial hair to get me through. Well, I can defy the odds again and again with you on my chin. With every moment you grow closer and closer to my heart. I love you, beard.
If you love it so much, why don't you just marry it?
Do you take this beard to be your lawfully wedded beard? For bearder or for worse, in scruffiness and in beard, till shave do you part?
I beard. Abe Lincoln had a beard. ZZ Top, epic beard. Dimebag Darrell, nettle beard. Chuck Norris, kick-ass beard. #1 Mickey beard. Chewbacca is a beard. Santa Claus, Jesus Christ, God has a beard. Obey the beard! Obey the beard! Obey the beard! Obey the beard!
Uh-oh, the song's over. The show's going to start. I better hurry up and remember what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing. This is some kind of a show, apparently. And it would help if the guy in the seat that I'm occupying knew what the hell was going on most of the time. We got to do this thing that I almost forgot again. Thanks, Peakless.
Hey, that's like the fastest ever.
Shh. Let's not, let's not ruin the cadence by mentioning. Just keep it going, and eventually it disappears and just becomes a normal part of the procedure, right?
It's particularly important this episode, given our attire.
Yeah, I feel underdressed, to say the least.
You should.
I didn't get a memo somehow, or you guys have
Don't
a
worry,
different
it's
threat
just like
level
when we wear the
assessment than I do.
striped shirts on you,
Can I?
you know.
Who do you subscribe to? Because we have totally different data. My expectations for this show are totally different than yours, based only on your attire.
Check your spam folder.
Damn it! There it is. Fuck.
You always got to check the spam folder, man.
Yeah. Well, I did not. My bad.
But if it isn't
screwing
obvious to
things
the just listener, Peakless and I are wearing body armor.
Oh, yes, please do describe,
Yeah.
because there will be people just listening who have no idea why we're carrying on and laughing.
Or bastards. I can't even find this thing on the RSS feed.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll have to fix that.
I mean,
Yeah.
granted,
I see it usually.
my electronic foo is, I mean, it's on the scale of Amishness, really.
E-foo. E-foo.
Yes, my
Really?
E-foo is like on an Amish scale, really.
That's not really a portmanteau. It's not really an acronym
We'll
either.
get portmanteau it sooner or later, you know.
Oh, there we go.
He just starts off, shots fired.
I know. So, well, good thing we're wearing armor.
I was just going to say, great, and I'm not wearing any fucking armor. Oh, my God. All right, so what the fuck is the show?
I think it's
This is the
Beard Talk Live.
41st show.
It
of
is.
Beard Talk Live.
41 Beard Talk Live.
We are over the hill and then some.
Will forever, henceforth, be known as over 40
It's true.
in the number of episodes. Obviously, I'm here, the Reverend Captain Kickass. I'm happy to have this guy here.
Zephin.
And Peakless Mountaineer is also here.
I'm
Joining me.
happy to have you here, too, I guess.
Just take his presence for granted because he's always here.
I'm intimidated by it, less so by you, but more so by him, just by sheer largeness of person, right? Like he's a much taller dude than you, and when he's wearing the armor, it looks way more militant, you know. Whereas you look
That's
like,
fair.
especially with the headphones on, you look like you're just going to the range, going to practice a bit, you know.
So I've got more of that fuddy look.
It just looks perfectly reasonable on you.
Oh, thank you.
Like I like the haircut, but it's kind of fed.
Yeah.
It kind of says, hey. Like, are you going to court or something?
Well, what I do is I just treat myself like a sheep shearing like every year. So I let it grow out a lot, and then I do just like a.
Do you make blankets and shit out of it?
Sometimes, you know,
Coats
this
or-
year I was too busy, so
Yeah.
I didn't get around to it. But yeah, no, I mean, I started a legal internship this week, so
That's right.
I had to. Like,
Oh, you're going to interact with what I like to call. I have many names for it. I'm just going to call them suits. Right.
And I like to call them first-class citizens.
I don't like the suits and tie. I really don't. I think it is a symbol of elitism, and in my opinion, and I don't like. I went to a funeral for my grandfather recently, in the last couple of years, and I did not wear a tie. Right. The most I could do was a nice button-up shirt and some nice dress slacks. You
Yeah.
know, and a new belt. Right. You know, like okay, I'm stylish. Right. I had some relatively new shoes already, so not a problem. And, you know, it was the most business you'll ever see me. You know, but I did not wear a tie because I just don't like them. I don't, you know, like this thing around my neck that anybody can, like, reach out, start choking your ass and shit. I don't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the choking is, like, that's the whole point of the thing. Like, it is a very dressed up form of submission. Like that, and that's also kind of a brag, right? Like, see, I am so badass that I literally walk around with a noose around my neck and don't nobody grab my noose. Like
that's an interesting perspective.
I don't know if this makes it any better, but the tie that I have is a Statue of Liberty tie.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm in immigration, so I figure that it like works stylistically there, and it's also sort of symbolic of like liberty and some of the principles about this country that I am actually proud of. I know that we don't like the federal government for a plethora of reasons, but I think that there are a lot of ideas about America that liberty lovers should and generally do appreciate.
You're touching on a subject that I have not talked about in a while, and that is, what the fuck happened to
Right.
like freedom, right? Like people in the United States of America, if you're fucking listening right now, what the fuck happened to freedom being like the basis of what America is supposed to be about? I say supposed to because it's not.
Well, 9/11 happened, and they hated us for our freedom.
It goes
and
farther
it
than
turns
that.
out that people in America are actually pussies. So they're like, oh, they hate us for our freedom. Well, good. Let's just get rid of that, and they'll quit hating us.
Might be good to view it like a COVID shot. It's like the first shot was Woodrow Wilson, and the second shot was FDR, and then you had some boosters after that. You had Lyndon B. Johnson, and you had Ronald Reagan. I mean, a lot of people love him, but no, he was a gun grabber. He got a lot of really bad
The
stuff.
fucking
through.
actor, right?
Yeah.
Like that's all you need to know is that Ronald Reagan was a fucking actor.
Yep.
Right? A Hollywood film actor.
Yeah.
And then he became president. Now,
Well,
Straight
why
out of
do
California, too.
Why do those skill sets translate? Oh, because you're basically lying all
Yep.
the fucking time.
Yeah.
well,
You're handed
since you mentioned
you're
it,
handed a set of lines and you recite them.
Yep.
Every fucking president ever.
Exactly.
well, George Bush Sr., good old GW, read my lips, no new taxes, Bush.
Guy.
So he was the head of the CIA.
Yeah.
Like, he was literally top spy.
Yeah.
You want to talk about overlapping skill sets?
Oh, yeah, right.
Well, I mean, what the fuck is the difference between an actor and a spy other than killing people?
Wait, did you say that was GW? I thought it was HW.
Sorry, HW.
Yeah,
HW, yeah,
yeah.
senior.
GW fool me once, shame on me. Fool me
That's right.
twice.
Herbert Walker.
I can't
Right.
spell
Which,
shame
like-
anyway, but yeah.
So, like,
Shoe dodging Bush.
yeah. Yeah, which like I dove down the Bush rabbit hole long enough to like learn the different people that he was named after and how like connected they were, and then I forgot it.
Yikes.
Like that the business plot, the Wall Street putsch
Yeah.
that Smedley Butler foiled.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like Prescott Bush and all of those guys. Well, and so here's the thing: like fascism is just communism for the right wing. Like that's its
What
design.
was the other name for the putsch?
The business plot.
The business plot. Yeah. Wikipedia. I was checking it out earlier because we were talking about it on the other show, and I was checking it out earlier. So if you want to learn more about it, if you don't know anything about what we're talking about, Wikipedia.
Yeah, it goes by a few names, and no one ever talks about it.
It's fascinating shit, man.
But here's the thing: look at what fucking happened. Look at what happened. We got FDR, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so we got left-wing communism instead of
Yeah,
right-wing communism.
The thing about getting older is that you begin to recognize, let's call them the longer patterns, right? So in your life, in everybody's daily life, you have certain sets of patterns. Most people generally wake up about the same time every day. They have sort of a morning routine. Maybe they go to a job or a career or a business or something, right? If they got family, they do family stuff that's within a schedule. You have these, and this is what I call the short-term routine, right? But in the long-term routine, we're talking about decades, right? If a president gets elected twice, right, that's 8 fucking years,
Yeah.
right? So like that is like sort of one slice of all of the presidents. So if you live through a bunch of presidents, you recognize the pattern, right? The oh no, this guy's saying the opposite of that guy, and this guy's saying.
In the words of Marty McFly, I've seen this one before.
It's now right. It's all a rerun to me now. Every presidential election is just like watching a horrible reboot of your favorite movie, right? It's just that bad. It's like, oh, the actors are shittier, and wow, this soundtrack sucks, and oh my god, like I really prefer the old. At least it was original artwork, but now it's just a copy or whatever.
But I mean, there are noticeable differences. They used to pretend to be doing the right thing. They honestly did. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how
They
much
tried.
of that you saw, but
Well,
like,
I mean, Obama was president when I was.
I think that's a matter of
cognizant.
perspective, though, because once you come out of the fog of statism, once you awaken from the indoctrination and brainwashing that you're subjected to as a citizen who is born and grows up inside the United States of America, I think if you can escape the fog of statism and then grow up again, you'll see things a lot differently. You'll be like, it's so obvious.
I think Pinkless is talking about something a little bit different, though, because I
Okay.
mean, like clearly we're able to decode all of this stuff regardless of what they say, but like what they're actually saying now requires very little to minimal decoding. Like if you're just like an average person paying attention, like you can see that the jig is up. Like they're just like they're being a lot more brazen than they've ever been in the past. They're not even trying to
because
hide
they
the
can.
fact that they're
Because
lying.
what's being done about it? Everybody's being a big pussy. Right?
Yeah.
America, the United States of America, its citizenry, or whatever you want to call the people that are on, the land commonly referred to as the USA. I mean, sitting idly by.
yeah.
To that extent, what am I doing? Well, I'm doing this first and foremost, right? I'm also joining up with a bunch of other freedom-minded people in a larger freedom migration movement to New Hampshire, of course.
Well, and that's the two sides of the thing that I'm seeing. So, as you put it, the libertarian architecture of Bitcoin and that technology, right? So that, as I see it, that is it's shipping out the ideas. So a bunch of people are, just certain technologies have ideas that go with them, like a bus versus a car. Like a car, by its nature, you're not asking anyone's permission to do a thing. A bus, you are sharing with a community of people the expense and the experience. So, like, one is an individualist technology. The other is a collectivist technology. Now, this is a libertarian technology.
Yeah, that's true.
And
it is.
So
I would even call it anarchic.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
it is
that's-
an anarchic. Well, anarchy is just the most libertarian point. Like libertarian is a direction.
It
just
is,
like
yes.
authoritarian is a direction. Like when Orwell imagined with his particular knowledge what authoritarianism looked like, we got 1984. So that's the direction of authoritarianism. At this point, that would be practically centrism.
Yeah.
I don't know if this makes sense or if maybe I'm muddling the term too much, but I sort of view cryptocurrency as like consensual libertarian imperialism because we are conquering the world with good ideas.
Right.
Like through
I see.
through the cryptocurrency channel, and like with those ideas, like there's an obvious utility for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that people all over the world can appreciate. But with those ideas also come decentralization, stateless money, sound money, and in the case of the privacy coins, you have privacy. And so all of these ideas are attached to this useful technology. Like if it's used that way, time will tell. But
well, it has to.
Yeah.
So, and here's where the evolutionary component comes in: the natural selection of the marketplace. Like, sure, it'll get used in all the other crap ways.
Sure.
And yes, some of those are going to do a serious amount of damage in the process. But inevitably, it will be used in the effective way. And the effective way is the efficient way. And the efficient way is without a bunch of forceful regulation on the thing.
Or violence.
Yeah, where you provide value to people as efficiently as you can is obviously the most efficient way, and not having to do those extra things like pay all the taxes and hire someone to check the regulations.
What do you guys think about this? Previously, I had the idea of you remember flash mobs?
Oh, yeah.
All right. I had the idea of a flash mob bank run, right? Where you get on social media like, hey, everybody meet at the bank of whatever on the corner of 74th and Smith Street at 7 o'clock and like everybody just get in line. You don't even have to like have an account there. You just show up and get in line like you're waiting to get in. People are like, what's going on, right?
Might be smarter to do that against the weaker banks too, so that you could you're more likely to topple them.
What do you think about a bank run into cryptocurrencies? I say cryptocurrencies plural specifically for this idea because I don't think one cryptocurrency can handle sort of a mass exodus. But much like some radio people will do what's known now as a money bomb, right? Where they're like, hey, you'll try and trend this term and like we're going to do donations and we're going to have a money bomb to fund this thing or whatever, right? Or a GoFundMe page, that type of a thing.
Right.
What if we set up some sort of a protest where everybody takes whatever money they have in their bank account and moves it into cryptocurrency on a very specific day or week, right, for that matter, right? Could we effectively get enough, and you can move it back, like, that's fine, but, like, just do it.
If the banks let you.
Well, they kind of have to.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're the one with more power at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Do they,
like,
though?
you can still move money from USD into crypto without a problem. Like you can hook up your bank account to any number of websites or apps, crypto apps, exchanges, all that kind of stuff.
Or if you live in New Hampshire, just people directly.
Yeah. Or you can also buy with credit cards, right? So there are places that accept credit cards. You can also buy crypto in some places with gold and gold backs.
Well,
and
at the
like
moment,
that.
at the moment, there exist publicly available on and off ramps. At the moment, you can move it in either direction.
Well,
how long that will be so?
Not without molestation.
Yeah, well,
you can move it one way without molestation, and that is from USD into crypto.
Which is so funny because
moving it the other way presents challenges.
Depends, actually. So moving it the other way, if you lose money moving your crypto into dollars, you can claim that as a tax write-off if you pay taxes. So
we're in New Hampshire. There's a band called Scissor Fight that's from New Hampshire. They have an album they put out, I think, in like the late 90s, 96 or something like that, called New Hampshire. The title track is called Granite State Destroyer. And the opening line is, weed, guns, and axes. We don't pay our taxes because we don't exist on any government list.
That's so fucking based.
Now that's from a native New Hampshire band in like the mid to late 90s, right? And I'm like, as soon as I heard that, I'm like,
that's the New
Hampshire.
I'm
home. That's nice.
But you free staters are nothing but a bunch of imperialists that have no room in this state.
Yeah, I think a lot of particularly public people with mics in front of their face here in New Hampshire say a lot of things, but I think there's a lot of people in New Hampshire that sport the live free or die spirit. You know?
Yeah, whenever I go door knocking, and I don't know if this is your experience, but whenever I'm out and about talking to regular Granite Staters, I see that mentality across the political spectrum. Even Democrat-leaning people are very just live and let live. They express it in their own unique way, and sometimes the expressing of it isn't as consistent as, for example, a libertarian.
Yeah.
But it is way more consistent than a Democrat in any other state. And similar thing with the Republicans, obviously. I just, felt like that went without saying. But in other places, Republicans are complete tyrants. So I felt like that was
right. And to go full circle, the anarchic infrastructure and ideas are being exported to the world.
Yes.
But the effective way to complete that circuit is to also have places, of which I think this is the current best option, of gathering together those ideas.
Yes.
Because, look, there's a lot you can do on the internet. It's extraordinary. But there's a reason that we had neighborhoods. There are technologies that are available with your physical presence that aren't available when you're distributed across the globe. So there's an advantage to doing that.
Let's go and see who's calling. Beard Talk Live. Who the fuck is this? Beard Talk Live. Hello. I can.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. You're on Beard Talk Live,
Sorry
the
about that.
uncensored after show. What's your name, please?
It's Saeed.
Hey, Saeed.
Hey, Saeed, welcome back.
Assalamualaikum.
Wow.
Hey, how you guys doing? It's really confusing having the. I'm using my phone right now.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
you're.
listen at the same time.
Yeah.
It's calling in.
Is that
Go
what you
on.
wanted to call about? Talk about
No.
how it sucks when you call in and you have to listen to the other show while you're on hold.
I was just hoping I can mention that. I don't know if you guys know. Cause one
Oh,
time-
we know.
Oh, we know.
We
Yeah,
know.
but we do appreciate
Gotcha,
you letting
gotcha.
us know if you already didn't know that we knew.
Gotcha. Yeah,
I know
did
that
it.
you know that I know that
but,
you know.
I wanted to call in because once I the part that I left off when I was hearing clearly was you guys were talking about why does it end up this way? You know what America used to be versus what it is now.
Well, I don't know about what it used to be because I don't know that it ever was. But like I was under the impression, even with statist
the values.
indoctrination, that America was about freedom,
Yeah.
and it doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, and people used to like be proud of being free, even
Yeah.
if they didn't know what that meant. Like even if their concept of freedom and liberty had absolutely nothing to do with the experience of it, they still like that was an important part of the American identity.
Yeah.
But these days, it honestly seems like people are embarrassed to be free.
It does. Like they have a shame about it.
Right.
I want to conform really badly, and I'm
Right.
going to.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah, I
why
think,
my theory was that 9/11 had shamed people of their freedom since they bought the government line.
What do you think about it, Saeed?
I was going to say my first thought when I heard that was the Thomas Jefferson quote about the price of freedom is eternal vigilance.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
And I think that's the case because it's not just like American history. There's plenty of history that goes around where they kind of like hold these ideals and these values, but over time it kind of like falls. Actually, I feel like it happens pretty damn quickly, to be honest. But it becomes super apparent over time. You know, where it starts, where it's pretty much the exact opposite of what they started out with, for the most part.
I think we're at
Yeah,
that
there's,
point,
there's
save
a,
for like the fact that we still get to do the Free Talk Live radio show, the one
Yeah.
that's on terrestrial radio, not on internet stream, or it is on internet stream, but it's also on a couple hundred radio stations. That remains, but like you're still, even with that, you're still not free to cuss,
Yeah.
like we are here on Beard Talk Live.
Indeed. Yeah, there's a word, I forget the word or the phrase for this principle, but there's a tendency for anytime that you have this organization with, you know, a set of like policies, there's this tendency for some people to devote themselves to the purpose of the organization and other people to devote themselves to the policies. And the people that devote themselves to the idea of the organization slowly get pushed out. And the people who have devoted themselves to the rules of it get more and more powerful. And that causes the organization to abandon its original purpose.
Now, is that any organization? Because you've just described government.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually any organization. And that's
Yep. And
now
I think it even applies to
the
people.
solution to that is that you don't have a rigid set of rules, because that imperial technology always does this.
What's that, Saeed?
I said I think that applies to people, individuals as well.
How so?
Where, as in, it's something. The way that I look at it, kind of like the way that I envision it, is kind of like a body without like no soul inside of it anymore. It kind of like loses its purpose. It becomes just mechanical, something more like habits or traditions rather than
like people will make companies to solve problems, but it becomes a soulless corporation quickly enough because it follows the corporate structure. Yeah, it loses its soul because it's not devoted to its purpose.
I think there's a good book I read. You guys probably know about nonviolent communication because it's big in the anarchist community.
Oh yeah, I've read it.
Yeah, so in the nonviolent communication stuff, he talks about strategies versus goals and needs or values. You know, and strategies are kind of like to go ahead and get those what our needs to kind of like meet our needs. But then it becomes a habit where we make the strategy more important, or that becomes the primary goal. instead of the actual ends that we're originally going towards. So the means becomes the whole purpose rather than the actual goal.
Right, and that's also you're kind of describing what happens to sometimes a person who gets to the idea in their head, they're like, okay, well, I recognize that this government thing is doing bad. I better go and like get elected and go see what I can do, and inevitably what happens is they get sucked into and up by the system. Right, the system causes them to act in psychopathic ways that they themselves cannot control. Right, every now and again, a noble person with good intent, joins the military or gets elected to I don't know some sort of office, that kind of a thing, and tries to do good. But the system itself does not allow for that to occur, at least not on any sort of regular basis.
But there is something to be said about the. Yeah, there is something to be said about the utility of the parade through the institutions, which is something that the left did masterfully over the past half century.
As a marketing device, it's great, right? If you want to market philosophy to people, then certainly put yourself in a position to go run for an office and introduce people to the ideas and philosophies of freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm attempting actively to destroy the institution of politics. But while it's here, what it's useful for, no, don't use it for what it's designed for. It's designed to fucking hurt people.
Yeah.
Use it because people pay attention to what's painful, and so they pay attention to politics. So if you have ideas that you want spread, it's a fantastic soapbox.
Yes.
But don't use it to hurt people. That's what it's designed for, and don't do that.
Well, and the parade through the institutions isn't just for politics. It's for every single major institution. Because I appreciate, your criticism and scrutiny of these institutions and, to a certain extent, the people that run for them. However, I think that it is good that our people are in those institutions, and they're in institutions outside of government. So, they're in media, they're in entertainment, they're in just all of these different technology, obviously, cryptocurrency. The fact that we are permeating ourselves into so many different aspects of New Hampshire life, I guess specifically, is something that'll just be invaluable. Because if we were only running for political office, but we weren't going to churches or going to town events or just being good members of the community and participating in all of these things outside of the political system, that would be a failing strategy. That is not something that is smart or should be done.
Honestly, I think it's going to end up the same way as the liberals, to be honest. People are going to get old. They're going to be all ingrained into the institutions, making money from it. They have their reputation staked in it, and kind of slowly fades away. And then there's going to be the rebels without a cause going on and continuing on, screaming at the clouds. And so I feel like there needs to be some type of in-between. I do hear where you're coming from, though, because I do think that those things, those institutions, add some value.
So, Saeed, you don't seem to be taking into account that the monetary system is changing on to a bedrock level right now.
Yeah.
Preparing for things to be as they have been, I think, is a waste of time and energy because, dude, are you not looking around? AI and crypto and the banks. 50 bajillion other little things. The banks are collapsing. Yeah. Things are shifting right now.
For sure.
And most importantly, I think, is the shift in the monetary system. So you can't assume that bribery is going to be done the way it was done 10 years ago in 10 years. Bribery will be a different game soon.
Or even the past couple thousand years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about a subtle type of bribery or something like that?
Well, no, I'm saying the ability to print money is going away.
Yeah.
That's...
okay, got you with crypto.
Okay, so let me spell out two ways that we have already seen this change occur. So the unbelievable irresponsibility of the fiat currency of America, and it's the most responsible. it relied upon two things. Like, number one, it printed as much as it fucking wanted to, you plebe. And number two, it printed it whenever it wanted to, and don't you expect the next meal ticket because I might take it away at any second, you plebe. Now, what cryptocurrency has already done is that it has made the banks eat themselves. Like, they can't print more than this without having to eat their own institutions. And they like to be the ones determining how fast they eat their own institutions. They can't do that anymore. You can either stop printing at this point, or you can eat your institution. Why? Because there's real competition against fiat itself.
Right. For the first time in history.
Yeah.
And here's the wild shit. The 4-year cycle of Bitcoin and with it all of the other altcoins.
Yeah.
Like, the 4-year cycle has determined the quantitative easing and tightening shifts that the government is doing now. In fact, they can't really get away with doing it at the wrong time, or else it will show how much power they've lost. And they don't ever want to show anyone that they've lost any amount of power. So that means that their tightening and easing schedule is a predictable schedule.
It is. But the problem is that crypto looks way too similar to stocks. The way that people are treating it is the money is being driven, bad money is being driven.
Yeah.
The way people are treating it right now.
Yeah, like they're treating it like a horseless carriage.
So
I'm all in on crypto.
They're treating it like a horseless carriage. Like, they are literally putting a horse in front of their car because they don't get how this thing works.
Said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all in on crypto 100%. I have my favorite coin, and everybody got their own. But I think the problem is that the stocks and how people are treating all of the money that's going into all of them is the same fiat money that is being printed out of nowhere. And that's what creates the kind of boom-bust cycles. If you look at the Austrian economic kind of theory, the boom-bust cycles is created from, I think it's called fiduciary money or something like that, where basically people are treating something that's like a obligation as if it's real money. And that's what's creating these boom-bust cycles. And we're seeing it all in all assets, because that bad money, that's what bad money does. And that's why I hate it. And that's why I've given up on
the obligation
fiat money,
that's different.
That is what I consider riba, interest, or usury. You know, that's what's creating these boom-bust cycles that's creating this kind of like wealth gap.
What was that word for it?
It's called riba.
Riba?
It's called riba.
Nice.
Riba, yeah. R-I-B-A.
Yeah.
It's a word based off of growth. It means growth, but
this grows kind of like cancer.
Unsustainable growth.
I think it's
exactly.
I think it's an acronym though. I'm not sure.
No, it's not an acronym.
Oh, okay.
It's an Arabic word.
Oh, okay.
Arabic word for riba, and it's the word that you would normally translate.
Well, careful, because if people start using riba to mean what usury used to mean, then they'll just change the meaning of riba.
Like Reba McEntire?
Yeah, like usury used to mean loaning at interest. And it was absolutely forbidden. Like, you were basically selling a demon to loan at interest for hundreds of years. And then the Templars got just enough power that they suddenly got the Pope to say, it's not like that at all. These guys can totally do that.
Didn't recession used to mean 3 months without economic growth?
Yeah. Sure did. Yeah.
Those were the days, 2022?
This is a recession.
Let me throw something in, actually, to tie it back to the original with old America. America was pretty free in a sense where, I don't know if you guys listen to or watch Aaron Melissa Dykes. They did like a documentary on like the history of money like a year ago. And it's kind of amazing how many revolts. Basically, the government could not go ahead and just create debts to foreign countries willy-nilly, because we wouldn't pay it. We'd revolt and we say, "Fuck that!
Right.
We're not paying that bill." And that was unheard of. And that was like, that's actual freedom right there, you know. But look at us now. It's the exact opposite. We're over here whining and acting like we actually have to go ahead and pay these debts. And that's what I think riba is. It's where somebody goes ahead and you make a contract. It might be a nonsensical contract, because I can go ahead and say, "Hey, dude, I'm going to give you $5 right now. You don't have to do anything for me. You don't have to give me any service. I'll give you $5. Do you have the right to go ahead and take that $5 from me now? You know, just because I promised it. Even if 5 minutes later I said, "Nah, I don't feel like it anymore." You know, that's what interest is. And people use violence against other people based off these agreements that are.
Well, interest works really fucking weird in a system like this, though. You know, pre-Bitcoin.
In general,
because
I have a problem with it in general.
what they aim at with their entire financial system is in paying interest. They do not want you to discharge the debt.
Right.
Ever. But they do not want you to be they don't want you to not take new debt.
Right.
They want you to keep getting in debt and keep paying not the principal but the interest or the minimum. Better yet, not even the whole interest, just a little bit.
That's why the first year of your mortgage is all interest, like 2 cents or something per payment go to.
Yeah, because that comes back to them in real effort. And when you can print it through debt, then it's free to you.
Yeah, that's how they do their wealth redistribution. We just impose it upon ourselves because it's similar to IP laws, where if you go ahead and say IP laws is basically slavery because it's restricting what somebody can do with their labor and with their own property.
Right.
People will agree with it because how else are we going to make money? You know, that's how they actually get people to go ahead and put their money into the banks in the first place. They promise interest. I'm going to go ahead and take this I'm going to go ahead and loan out your money to somebody else that I don't have, and take something from them, and I'm going to give you a piece of it. You know, and so we kind of buy into our own slavery. That's why I focus on the individual a whole lot nowadays, because I think that we create the system by our lack of, or by our myopia. You know, like just having our closed-minded kind of like cultural idea of right and wrong. You know, based off of generations and generations of brainwashing.
Yeah, if we use their definition of good and bad, then of course we think that they're good.
Yeah. Another
and
example.
Everyone else can actually be bad.
On Free Talk Live, the idea if you go into a restaurant and you order something, and because of the cultural norms, you go ahead and do you have an obligation to pay for that thing? Is it theft if you don't go ahead and pay for that meal?
Right.
You know, most people say yes. I say that's
no, that's absolutely right, and I'll tell you why. So here's how this works. Hold on. No, you brought it up, and I really need to answer this question. Okay, so the whole going into a restaurant. Okay, you know for a fact, assuming that you are of a decent civilized human being, you know that they own the food that's in there, and when you get that thing that they own. Okay, what did you think that you were giving them that would be worth them giving this to you? Because, like, let me show you my first gift was an exchange. I gave my parents immortality. They fed me and housed me. Like, that was an exchange. And wouldn't you know it, we love each other. So what exchange did you think you were making? Because it's always an exchange.
And it's not like they're trying to hide anything. They tell you right on the menu what the prices are, and the things that they don't tell you are free. Like when they bring out you a bread basket and
water,
and there's no price. Like it's free and if they charged you for it, that would I think that would be fraud to a certain extent. Like because you walk into a restaurant with the expectation that you won't get charged right off the bat.
Yeah,
I know
it's an efficient boilerplate contract. It's so efficient we don't write it.
Let's say you talk.
Yeah, I mean, there's expectations all around with a lot of our contracts and what we do, and not always do we have the force of violence to go ahead and use on other people to kind of make it our way. That's why we have. I kind of gone all in on the not your keys, not your coins kind of thing. Because if you can go ahead and make these promises easier, I mean, if you can have like the social construct to kind of like create this obligation that you can actually use violence to kind of like, or not, you don't even have to use violence most of the time because most people are just going to go with it. Then I think that's basically socializing the cost, and people are actually, if they did change the business model, they would actually lose money. So if they move to something safer and more secure, like collateral or putting something down or paying up front, normal ways of paying for things, normal transactions, then they'll lose money. And so they don't want to. And so they want the state and they want this social construct to kind of like enforce it rather than using something that's simpler and cheaper.
Well, they're just used to outsourcing the responsibility. Right? Most people have been taught that, it's much safer to keep your value in a bank. Like when you graduate high school or even before, you're going to need to get yourself a bank account because that's the safe place to keep your money. No, I mean, maybe it's safer than tucking it under your mattress. Maybe. I mean, in today's society, man, like that might be the safer option, really. But now you have an alternative. With your what you said about not your keys, not your coins. As long as you have your keys, you can memorize your money. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to exist anywhere. Yeah. And that's the most secure place I can think of to keep my money, is in a place where only I have access to it.
I don't know. I guess it would depend on your definition of secure, because my definition of secure also includes like the contingency that if I die, like, I want my wealth to go on to.
There are ways to.
There's really simple ways to do that.
No, for sure. Yeah.
So many ways.
I know. But like, what I'm saying is like only keeping it in your brain is like not the most secure, in my opinion.
Well, actually, it is. It's maximum security, because if you forget, well, then guess what? It's gone. Like, all of the responsibility lies within yourself at that point. But if you need to transport a large quantity of value from point A to point B, you can do so by only memorizing a series of words.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do. You could be naked.
I think all I'm saying is
unclothed, no tattoos.
No, all I'm
hold
saying
on.
is
so there's coins that got sent to the wrong bloody address, right? Now, technically, those are the most secure coins in all of existence.
Right.
No one is ever going to move those. They are secure.
Which is technically correct.
Yeah.
However, in order to get some utility, we sacrifice a little bit of our security in order to get that utility by, say, someone that's alive at least knowing the words in their head to this thing. We might even go a little further and be like, okay, maybe to someone's, like maybe your wife knows your your seed phrase.
That's basically what I'm saying. I think that like the most secure way is like you knowing and the person that you intend on giving the rest of your property.
There are ways for you to do the.
Well, I mean, that value does get transferred, though. This universe. Nothing's created or destroyed or whatnot. That value gets transferred to everybody else. It's redistributed. If you can't move those coins, that makes it more scarce, and everybody else kind of gets like a little bit more value.
Yeah, he's got a good point.
No, that's true, but I'm not a collectivist. I'm a selfish capitalist that cares about.
Then you would actually cheer for more lost coins.
And the point
not my
is
lost coins,
not yours.
Well, the point is that you get to choose your own level of security.
Right.
Like maybe you're like, it's not enough just for us to know these seed phrases. I want a computer program constantly running that will find my obituary in this newspaper and then send them to my children.
Right. I don't have to rely on Wells Fargo or Chase Manhattan or JP Morgan or whoever.
That's obviously not what I'm suggesting. I'm just saying that, planning for these contingencies is
Well, yeah, but the beauty of it is that you get to pick where your level of security is. I mean, like, hey, maybe you actually like the so-called custodial wallets, which is the most nonsensical fucking phrase in the universe.
Yeah.
But maybe you like these companies holding on to your money for you. Okay. Pick your own level of risk.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to. It's not just this. Yeah. Good?
Sorry about that.
No, go ahead.
There's custody everywhere. It pisses me off hearing about the custody from Bitcoiners a whole lot, because people put their money in stocks. They get paid from employers who hold their money for like 2 weeks or months on end. They have custody all over the place, constantly. And up until they actually get crypto in their hands, it's mostly custody or something physical in their hands. So what most people's value is not actually in their own hands.
Right, because we got PayPal, we got Venmo, we got, what are the other ones?
I'm not even just cash. I'm just talking about a lot of
mortgages are also
money.
like a way of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a lot of it's fiduciary, kind of like bills, and then on top of that, there's like some social trust. And to be honest, I like the social stuff, like families and neighbors and neighborhoods actually having like growing that value locally and whatnot.
It's certainly some good shit.
Custody, that's the real stuff. But there's custody all over the place, and that's where that's what I was mentioning about all this fiat money going into stocks and in crypto, and looks exactly the same when you look at the charts, especially when you look at Bitcoin. That is all fiduciary. That's a lot of that fiduciary trust. In fact, actually, this idea.
Hold on, just so you know, in recent developments, one of the biggest things is that it's starting to look a lot more like gold than it looks like the stock market. So here's one of the fun coefficients here. The more the banks collapse, the more people see crypto for what it actually is: alternative money. Like, the more that the banks show themselves for what they are, hopelessly corrupt and like mathematically provably full of shit.
Cryptocurrency is the Beatles of currency.
That's true. That probably will look more and more, or less and less like stocks over time. Probably.
Because when rock and roll first showed up, right, it was anti-establishment. It was like, people didn't want their kids using it, right? You know, institutions were like, no, stay away from this evil rock. So you know, and who is the greatest band in rock and roll? The Beatles, arguably, right? You know, at least historically speaking. So
they have the most awards.
The Bitcoin is the Beatles of currency.
I mean, at what point did they become like so like controversial? Was it at the beginning, or was it when they like started taking LSD?
Well, rock and roll was controversial in the first place. Yeah. Ever since Elvis moved his hips.
Yeah, I think that's
moving
actually
your
where it
hips
started.
while you're in front of people, it's indecent.
Right.
You stripper.
Did you guys know?
You fucking slut.
Exactly.
This is actually in show prep for me. Did you guys know that Elvis Presley was a narc?
Yes.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yes.
Well, I watched the
And did you
Elvis
know he
movie
directly
recently.
armed the government?
And also, did you know
Nixon
that?
in particular.
Did you know that he never left the country?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild to me.
Well, didn't he get drafted? So he did leave the country. Just
Did he? I don't know.
yeah, no, he did. Yeah, Elvis went to war.
Maybe you can help us a little
Oh,
bit.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was like
Hang on. Hold on, guys.
yeah, that was one of the big like Beatles fans versus Elvis fans. Things.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow.
dressed
Wow.
from his long black limo.
There we go.
Keeping Memphis clean from his long black limousine. Fighting crime with fast karate chops. Oh, now Elvis was a narc in Rhinestones After Dark. He did his best to keep Memphis drug-free. He knew every pill he'd eat would be one less on the street. Elvis took them all for you and me.
Pinkerton, Bowden, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Demento.
I wish that's how the war on drugs was actually fought. The federal agents being like, how can I take the most drugs possible?
I must keep them away from the children and do more.
You guys ever watch Black Dynamite?
Yeah, a little bit. Not as much as I want to.
I might be too old for that.
It's a good one.
Oh, you talking about the cartoon? No, I'm talking about the movie.
Oh yeah, no, the cartoon is all I'm familiar with.
Got you. It was around the same time period, and I have a feeling they did talk about Elvis a whole lot. I got to rewatch it again.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
it
I'm just
wasn't
imagining a cordon of cops not letting any drugs near the school because they're just doing all of them.
No. They cordon off the school while there's drug dealers trying to get in, and then suddenly up rolls a limousine, and Elvis in his white suit and the big collars and the sequins and all that shit gets out, and he's like, "I'm here to do the drugs, man."
Well, I was kind of talking more about the politicians like the Jeff Sessions and all of these other drug warriors. It's like, please take like the hardest drugs, like take the fentanyl, take the crocodile, so that we get that off the street, and so that you know, like you're saving lives. Yeah,
I like this. We start by feeding the fentanyl to the president and move our way down.
Hey, Saeed, fantastic call. Thank you, man. Have a good night. Let's move on to what do we got here? Somebody dropped off. Okay, well, Beard Talk Live. Who the fuck is this?
Inauthentic McElroy.
I'm sorry, the who?
Inauthentic McElroy.
Inauthentic. What a Roy?
Inauthentic McElroy.
What's a McElroy?
It's like a
I have
McElroy,
no idea.
only
Oh,
Scottisher.
McElroy. Oh, like McDonald's, not McDonald's. I see. Well, inauthentic McElroy, do you have a beard?
Yes.
Nice. All right, bearded fella.
Yeah.
And,
I've got news.
okay, what's the news?
Okay, from last week, that mission you put me on.
Oh, right. What was it? Because I forget.
It was Diesel Machine.
I love that band. It was Diesel Machine. That band rocks.
Oh, yeah. I'm remembering this mission.
They only have 2 albums, too, and the first one is better. They just put out a new one, and by just put out, I mean probably 4 or 5 years ago now.
No, 2 years ago. It was 2020.
Was it really? That's 3 years ago.
Just to refresh my memory and the listeners' memory, like this was the challenge to identify the band that was in like the break
music.
Of the music that he liked, right?
Yeah.
Yep, FYI, episode 24.
Right.
Episode 24, Diesel Machine. Yeah. I've got some on deck for today. I've got some Slayer, and I've got a band called Death Angel. Now, Death Angel's name makes them sound way like more scary than they are. They're top-notch musicians, don't get me wrong, and they play fast, but like they have singing and yelling, that kind of a thing. They're a high-production band. They've been around forever. They have one song in particular. I don't know if it'll play or not the way I've got it set up, but it's been on my mind today. It's called 5 Steps to Freedom, and it just sort of describes like the thought process of somebody actually trapped in a cage. And that kind of, and so it's kind of been, it's in my rotation, if you will, at this point, and it's been on my mind. So I brought that in for the break music, and then Slayer. I'll even spill the song. It's War Ensemble is the name of the song. The sport is war, total war. When victories really massacre, the final swing is not a drill. It's how many people I can kill. As you can imagine, that song is about war. So. That's what's coming up. Authentic McElroy.
Good shit. But yeah, no, that band made me, Diesel Machine made me think that there needs to be more, what I'm going to term it now, industrial groove metal.
Yes, I agree. That is an underrepresented genre, at least in my scope. Like, not a lot of that crosses my
It's so
my
underrepresented, I've never heard of it.
Fear Factory would be an example of that. Those guys have been around, well, I think they're done now. They got a new singer, but their old singer, they kicked him out or whatever. Again, like it happened once before, and then they got back together, and then now they're done again, and they got a new singer. But those guys do industrial metal and like fast stuff. They're not all just groove, but they have a lot of groove elements to them. And they have the singer alternates between the hardcore yelling, screaming, and the actual singing. And like there'll be like harmony parts and stuff like that. They also, I don't like a lot of, I'm going to call it keyboards in my bands. Fear Factory does use keyboards, but they do it in such a way that's awesome. They'll do like the overwhelming bass sound, like an explosion. So like when they stop and then a big part comes up and they all come back into boom, like in the movies, right? That big low end tone. They'll use it for like howling winds and sound effects, stuff like that. They do a really good job, especially live, with that kind of a stuff. So Fear Factory, if you like Diesel Machine, Fear Factory might be something for you to check out. Demanufacture is my favorite album of theirs. It's a picture of a human skeleton, and it sort of morphs into a barcode. And that's their album cover. It's pretty sweet.
Sounds familiar.
Nice.
But yeah, that's all I called for. So.
Hey, thanks for the follow-up. Enjoy Diesel Machine, man. Peace.
I wonder how much time that took him. I should have asked him.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe he's listening to the rest of the show.
Since episode 24.
And
Well, no, he brought it up last week.
He did.
Yeah.
He's been thinking about it since episode 24. He brought it up in episode 40.
Yeah.
And figured it out between episode 40 and now this episode 41.
One week.
I.e. 1 week.
So was it beep boop, or did it take you all week?
Oh, weird.
Well,
Wow.
we had a caller.
There was, he waited a good long time, too. I'm surprised he dropped off.
Yeah, and he, dropped off, the second you were about to
I
get
was just
to
like,
him. I know, I saw him. I saw it from here.
Listen
Yeah.
back to this. You almost got on. You were this close.
Well, this gives me the opportunity to potentially go into the show prep.
You like to bring show prep, nice.
I do indeed.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you know,
we haven't been doing that. It's been.
I just wanted to keep talking about ties. Shit.
we just keep pulling talk show out of our ass as this thing continues to go on. But
it's pretty impressive, honestly. Like, I'm the kind of person that like needs a little bit of structure, but it seems like you guys are able to carry on fine with very little of it. The structure kind of like makes itself.
So if I'm going to be a philosophical anarchist, right, I should also practice it, right? And
well, it's spontaneous order.
And so doing this show in an unformat sort of a way allows that to happen, right? And so I think that's what makes this show interesting, is that each show is a little bit different from every other one. Whereas, like, on Sundays when I host Free Talk Live, we have a cadence, right? We do bits, you know what I mean? There's certain things that we kind of always do. And so, and we do that even here on this show. And I guess we should do the thing now that we're talking about it.
That we always do.
Yeah, that we always do.
Yeah.
The amble, yes, as it's known. The Beard Talk Live amble is
shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits.
Why do we say the amble? Because fuck the FCC.
Because we fucking can.
Because fuck the FCC.
Because if you don't use your fucking rights, you lose your fucking rights.
That's exactly how it works.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Why am I wearing body armor right now?
That's the
Because if I stop wearing body armor, then I won't be able to wear body armor because they'll go, ooh, look, they're not wearing body armor. Let's make that illegal.
I swear, Neuralink, man, I was literally going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So,
get off my wavelength, man.
Yeah, man. So
because that's how it fucking works. And if I don't do math and combine it with electrical writing, then they will make that illegal.
Hey, Peaklish, are you going to let Third Chair with his show prep? Or?
Well, I mean, you've maybe convinced me that show prep might not be a good thing for this
great.
show. But
Great. Now he's not even going to do it. Last time he brought show prep, I might have been like, yeah, in my mind.
Yeah.
And then he busted out the show prep, and it was epic.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a high standard now, and now I'm concerned as to whether or not this show prep will
live up to your ridiculously high expectations.
Well,
not to mention the previous.
It's unfortunately
not
to
burst your bubble.
Related,
It's not beard related.
Yeah, I mean, but it is very, very, very important, nevertheless, because I think that in the libertarian community we are very good about realizing the importance of arms, like realizing the importance of self-defense, but also a lot of us know what democide is.
Yes.
The risk of government killing you, killing your family, killing people in your community. And I think that in the 20th century alone, the government was responsible for 263 million non-war related deaths. And, I mean, luckily it hasn't gotten close this century, but, we're still in the early 1920s and we've still got some time.
It's hawaii.edu/powerkills/20th.htm.
Yeah, if you look into Rudolph Rummel, you'll find tons of good stuff.
Yeah, but the actual data still exists. I like to look at it from time to time. I don't understand it because I'm not, and it's put together on a website that looks like it was built in 1999.
Yeah.
But all of the data still exists there. And this is for me, this is a bit of a canary in the coal mine, right? If this is ever not publicly accessible, again, I'd be like, hey
shit's
guys,
going down.
something's up here.
But going
there's
down,
so much that just disappears up down the memory hole. And this is one of the things I was talking about with what's changed recently-ish is that they're really blatant about this shit.
Yeah.
Oh, there were two people. Nope, there was one, and you're crazy if you think there were two. They at least really tried to cover that up with Oklahoma City.
Right.
They really tried to cover up. Nope. These witnesses are crazy for thinking there's a second person.
Yeah, and every year on the ATF Twitter page, they cover like, oh, remember the Oklahoma City bombing and like, the people that lost their lives that day, but they cleverly ignore what else happened on that day, which was the Waco massacre, which is something that arguably if they had not done that, the Oklahoma City bombing would not have happened, if you believe the official story on that.
I just want to say this, having looked it up. Of all pre-20th century killings, massacres, infanticide, executions, genocide, sacrifices, burnings, deaths by mistreatment, and the like, that for which corpses have been counted or estimated, surely but a fraction, add up to a range of near 89 million to slightly over 260 million men, women, and children dead as a result of democide.
Yep. And the number I constantly see is 263, but if you
that's the correct number, right? Yeah. This is so when you look this stuff up, you have to look at a number of sources. The Hawaii.edu URL has the raw data. If you want to check anything, if you're reading an article that claims a number, whatever it is, you could go pop over there if you're industrious enough and look it up yourself. It's there.
And I mean, like, you don't even know if you can trust these numbers, right? Because a lot of these numbers are gotten from the government data. So what I'm saying is it could be way more than 263. Yeah, so that's a low ball.
A lot of people, when they first hear this, they're like, well, but that's not many, especially with all the wars. Well, no, that doesn't include war.
No, it doesn't include war.
It doesn't include war.
Although maybe it should.
263 million people, not including war.
Yeah.
And I wonder what the war statistic is for the same period of time.
It probably is more.
I hope. I mean, I don't hope so, but I would imagine it would be.
Yeah.
But
well, the line's kind of blurred, right? I mean, because I don't want to go down too controversial.
One of the points of war, though, is human sacrifice of your own population.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like with the Holocaust, right? I mean, like, are those war deaths or are those
let's
genocide
look at this
deaths?
just real quick for 1/2 of a fucking second. Okay, so you're going to at random get it, like you're going to make things bad enough that this many people join up to the service, right? Because we're a voluntary army. Okay, so at random, this set of people joins your little, I get to tell you exactly what the fuck to do. And what do? You send them where they're going to die, usually wearing some form or another of pentagram.
Okay.
Or, other, there's always this like weird occult fucking
I don't recall seeing
symbolism. Oh yeah, look at the side of a
pentagrams
jib. Okay, it doesn't have the little connecting lines, but you'll see a circle with a star in it. It's always the stars, man. You got 50 fucking pentagrams on the flag, man.
Wow.
And who sends them out? The Pentagon.
Yeah, I refer
the little part in the middle that's missing.
I refer to the Pentagon as the pentagram.
Yeah.
Because it is.
Yeah. So that's what sends these people to their deaths. It's a human sacrifice.
Yeah, it's a machine.
And it's necessary for them to maintain the illusion that these friends and relatives died for a reason, for something that exists that's real. You can't tell me there's no such thing as the country. It's real. My cousin died for this country.
I mean, people die for abstract reasons all the time. Religions, for example, right? I'm not a particularly religious dude. I know that you are, but every religion is like, well, ours is correct. And it's like, well, you can't all be right. So some of you are full of shit, at least, if not all, y'all.
Yeah, and there's a term in Judaism for dying in the name of God. It's called Kiddush Hashem. But the way that Jews do it, it's very often not killing in the name of, it's very much
got the word douche in it?
Kiddush, it means blessing.
It's not the sound like when you overfill the toilet.
But basically, like, most of the time that Kiddush Hashem is invoked is when you're basically not bending over to tyrants. Like, for example, like if there have been examples throughout history where reading Torah, like, in any sort of public fashion is illegal. And so somebody that goes out and reads Torah and is publicly executed dies in Kiddush Hashem.
Okay.
So, I mean...
And hold on. You aren't religious, but okay, here you are in a studio that has been raided twice by the enforcement officers of a very murderous organization.
For religious reasons.
And here you are doing
I'm an
basically the same
ordained
thing that they got.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously you are putting your life at risk for some fucking reason.
An
And I'm
abstract
going to go
reason.
with an abstract reason, an ideal
Would you
that
like-
you believe in.
Would you like to know why? It's because of my philosophy that no man should rule over another. I realize that requires the participation of, well, everybody else. Right? So in order for me to be free, I recognize that you also must be free, right? If I want to achieve maximum individuality, maximum freedom, it requires all y'all, and I mean everybody listening, the whole world, to also be free. And so that's why I'm here.
And that, in my opinion, is a religious zealotry. Like you are, I mean, you've
I think
referred
it's
to yourself as an Eleutheromaniac many times.
I am,
I
yes.
mean, here you are willing to put yourself at who knows how much risk because this peace and freedom idea, because I mean, really, they're just two sides of the same coin, peace and freedom. I mean,
Yeah.
being free is being without being threatened.
Right.
So, like, yeah,
It is peace.
It's the same
Yeah.
thing. So you are so devoted to this thing that you're willing to lay your life on the line for it. That is a religious zealotry.
It is weird because people will be listening to this or watching over at watch.freetalklive.com. Or if they want to call, they can call 603-283-6160.
Only way you could see the body armor is by watching.
Yeah, that's true. So it is odd for me to think about sitting at this desk, speaking into this microphone, as risking my life. But it's true.
Just because you suppress that knowledge doesn't mean that you didn't make that decision consciously.
No, I have the knowledge. I'm not really suppressing it. I know that it exists. There are people watching and listening who are going to be like, well, you just sit on your ass and yell at the government in a microphone. I mean, okay, I do that too. That's a factually correct statement. I do sit on my ass and yell at the government into a microphone. That's
Turns
true.
out that's what really upsets them.
Yeah, I mean, the government has put us on constructive notice that is enough to have violence committed against you.
Yeah, they're gonna swat at people like us whenever they feel like it. Whenever they're, they didn't get enough busts, or their boss comes down on them for something that they didn't do or didn't do right or whatever. They'll take it out on anyone they can, and they love to pick on those who are vocal. So it is a risk.
So I did have a reason in bringing all of this up.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You were in the middle of a thing. Way to go, Peakless.
I wanted to continue talking about the religious zealotry of the atheist crowd.
We have callers, too, so go ahead.
So like, again, like libertarians and liberty-minded people know the utility of having guns and being armed, but they don't similarly recognize the utility
Sorry, my bad.
of having like a shield, in respect to this as well. It's sort of like being a knight and having a sword but having no armor. And so I think that after you buy a couple of guns, it is very, very impervious that you also get body armor, and you don't have to go too crazy. Yeah, or imperative.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Impervious.
Impervious. Whoops. Okay, well, it's imperative that you get body armor, and I have an article that says why buy body armor. 5 reasons why every American should own body armor.
Ooh, it's a list.
Mhm.
All right. Well,
Yeah, well, I mean, you gotta
now
love
is
lists.
it the top 5 or just 5?
I think it's just 5 because
And
I think
is it
I think
in
there's actually
reverse order or forward order? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
It
or is
doesn't
it 5,
seem
4,
like
3,
it's
2, 1? Is
it doesn't
countdown?
seem like it's in any particular
Okay.
order, but
All
I don't
right.
even think that my biggest reason is on this list, which is like the reason that I
Well, save
laid
yours
out
for
earlier.
last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I already gave it away, but we'll just go back to it at the end. So number 1, hunting and sport shooting. It says there are millions of Americans that hunt both recreationally and for their livelihood. Personally, I hunt in areas that are surrounded by forests for thousands of acres and 5-acre farm fields. And according to the pewtrust.org, some states like Michigan saw a 67% increase in new hunters for 2020, and Nevada saw a 40% increase for new hunters, while Idaho saw a 28% increase. And the reason why it's so important to wear body armor when you hunt is because you could take all of the proper precautions. You can like wear orange. You can do all of these things, but bullets don't really care.
Yeah, they're colorblind.
Right, exactly. So I mean, you can be hunting and some guy from super far away like just shoots it, gets the luck of the draw, goes through a bunch of trees, and if you get hit, you're screwed. So I mean, obviously, if you're a hunter, I think that is probably like one of the biggest instances where you would need body armor.
28% increase in hunters over what period of time?
So for Michigan, in particular, it was a 67% increase in new hunters for 2020.
So it's interesting.
That sounds like it was from 2019 to 2020, 67% increase.
So that's interesting, particularly in light of a bunch of things for that particular year. That was COVID kicking off.
Right, exactly. Right? Well, and for Michigan in particular, well, they couldn't even get seeds.
That's kind of when the market started being weird. Like all the prices of houses shot up again.
Right.
Right. We saw versions of like shortage of stuff. So I wonder if people are like, oh fuck, we better go hunting.
Right.
Right, because we need food.
Yeah. Well,
right?
also better
Can't
to
go
know
to the grocery store, so let's get a hunting license.
Well, also better to know how to hunt before you need to know how to hunt. You know,
66%.
67 for Michigan. Yeah.
Jesus.
And then for other states, it was a bit lower, but that's substantial.
All
for
right.
sure.
What's the next one?
Next one. Oh well, and it goes into like as a sub thing what body plate is best for deer season. And this one says that he wears a level 4 plus HA body armor, and I'll get into the different levels after I read the list.
The important part on that one being that you want to be prepared to deal with a rifle, because people have rifles.
And particularly a high-powered rifle. Like, you'd probably be looking at a 308 if you're around a lot of people that are hunting for big game.
I want to know what kind of body armor I should wear in wabbit season.
In wabbit season?
Well,
about duck season? No?
Duck season.
Rabbit season.
Wabbit season.
Duck season.
Yeah. You guys
Elmer season.
You've got it. All right. All right, what's next?
Well, I mean, we could briefly go into the different types if that's something that you're interested in.
You said there were 5. We've gotten through 1.
Well, I mean, but like, no, the different types of body armor, because like if what you're saying, if your question was a serious question.
Oh, no, I was not serious at all. No, sorry.
No worries. Either way, we'll get into it like after the list, so it's fine. Next reason.
Yes, we will.
Next reason is home defense. And so it basically goes into how
Need a pretty big armor-plated vest to fit around my house.
Well, I think that the reason why it lists home defense is because, like, let's say that you have a setup where you have an upstairs and a downstairs, right? You hear some like bump in the night downstairs. You might have a rifle by your bed, but like as trusty as your 30-round, AR-15 might be, your rifle won't protect you against intruders that are also armed, which if I were an intruder in New Hampshire and I was breaking into somebody's house in the middle of the night, knowing that they were home, I would certainly not be unarmed.
Yeah.
So that's the huge utility with home defense, is that like if it just provides an additional layer of protection that you otherwise wouldn't have.
It's worth knowing these things when we're seriously like on the edge of potential temporary apocalypse.
Right.
Because, okay, so here's some fun shit that's happening this week. June 1st, we're moving from the London rate to the American rate for overnight lending in banks. So what this means is like $1 quadrillion of contracts are currently set to this standard of lending. And now all of them need to move to this standard of lending.
So is it Y2K?
Yes.
That's how I asked
it is
about
the
it too.
Y2K of money. And that is happening on the 1st of June.
Wow.
So could be like the regular Y2K, a big old nothing burger, or it could actually be like the event that triggers the breakdown of the financial system of the planet. Because it's very clearly breaking down.
I love all or nothings.
Bank run to crypto. Bank run to crypto.
Yeah.
I don't know when.
Yeah.
I just think that is a good idea. It is nonviolent. It is a form of protest. It's something everybody can participate in.
I mean, even do it on a consistent basis, like just dollar cost average it. And there are ways of...
What would be the best day? Oh, tax day.
Yeah.
Tax day would be the best day.
Yeah.
What better day for a tax protest?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That'd be a good one.
All right, so anyway.
Yeah, so...
reason I want... So, just real quick, the reason I brought it up is because you might have to defend your canned fucking food soon.
Right, exactly.
Oh, that.
So you might really want to know which armor you need for this.
I so take it for granted that, like... The liberty community is all about this kind of a thing, and like being prepared, like even if it never happens, right? You got to have your shit together and your ducks in a row, and people will frown on you if you don't have like certain levels of things going on, that kind of a thing. There's a bit of social pressure within the libertarian community.
They don't want you to.
True.
They don't want you to be a burden.
I know.
That's
why.
Like
normies are all about getting your lawn care right.
So from time to time,
also, on the other hand,
from time to time, I forget that there's, a whole bunch of regular ass people out there who just, if they tuned into 5 seconds of what we're talking about,
there's a world that isn't New Hampshire. Yeah, no, that was shocking to me when I had to go to the high school reunions. Like, oh right, the world that isn't New Hampshire. I forgot you existed. Dear God, I didn't bother to imagine what had happened to it after COVID.
Right.
Like the normal world, dear God.
All right, I just have to say this because it happened again. So if you're on
Same
hold,
color?
No, different caller. If you're on hold, stay there until I get to the call. Or I guess hang up and call back, but that's kind of annoying, right? But it's been twice now that I've reached over and then the call is gone.
Well, we could go into the next reason.
Let's do it.
So body armor is legal for everyone, almost.
Yeah, I was going to say there's been some recent controversy about certain types of body armor and what states you can and cannot.
Right, so
there's New York and then there's the rest of reality. Now,
there's New York and there's America.
New York's made it illegal, but like even California can find it in their heart to let you have fucking Kevlar.
What I love about New York, the state, is their motto: the Empire State.
Yeah,
right.
Whenever I think of
they
New
live
York,
up to it.
Yeah, whenever I think of New York, instantly the song, bum 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 goes into my brain.
Oh, the Cheney anthem.
Yep, indeed.
Wow.
Also, like it's fun whenever there's like a police parade to like if you have a speaker or something, like walk alongside them as that's like.
Oh, nice.
Fun activism.
Wear a stormtrooper outfit that has the speaker built into the back of the thing, and then just carry your phaser.
That'd be pretty fucking
your laser
sweet.
rifle or whatever. It
Blaster.
is. Blaster.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Blaster rifle.
I'm deducting 4 nerdcore points.
Yeah, I've forgotten more nerdcore points than I ever earned.
5 points from Gryffindor. So apparently the only type of people that can't own body armor on a federal level are convicted felons.
Wait. Wait. What? Let's just say I'm a convicted felon. I'm not. But let's just say I am.
Captain Kick-Ass is a convicted felon. There,
I go online and I go buy like some body armor, right? And then it shows up at UPS, a couple days later.
There's no background check if that's what you're asking about.
No. But and then I start wearing it. At what point do the men in costumes with arms, and I mean firearms, that is, show up at my door to A, take away my property that I just purchased, B, threaten to kill me if I don't comply, or C, threaten to throw me in a cage if I don't comply.
Isn't it the same answer for any sort of law? Like whenever they feel like it?
Yeah, A, whenever they feel like it.
Yeah.
Just like every other law.
Yeah.
And also B, when they find out about it.
Right. I mean, yeah, because
when will they find out? C level A.
So
when they feel like it, they will bother to look at you.
Well, and we're wearing like kind of bulky body armor, but like this vest that I'm wearing without the plates in it is a certain level that stops like 9mm, for example, and a couple of the other more common handgun rounds. So like I could wear this underneath my clothing, and like it and nobody would know. It's almost like concealed carry body armor.
Yours, yes. His, no.
Yeah, mine is very clearly designed to be worn on the outside.
Right. But what I'm saying is that, like, if somebody is a convicted felon, and they do take their safety seriously and are not as enthusiastic about following laws, then they could potentially like operate in a way.
I'll do you one better. They make suits out of Kevlar. Like you can.
Is
just
that real, or
No,
I thought that was a John Wick thing?
That is 100% real.
Oh wow!
I've never seen it.
It used to be a fiction thing.
Oh, okay.
Like I remember that being an option from like a special side book from Cyberpunk, the role-playing game. Like there was a side book.
Right.
That's where you could find the Kevlar woven suits. But no, I have seen this shit on the internet. It is a thing.
I have the documents.
100%. Yes.
Do you believe everything on the internet, Peakless?
If it has a price tag, kinda.
Next, you're gonna start telling me that Dragon's Breath shotgun ammo is a real thing.
Dragon's Breath shotgun
I'm fucking
ammo is
with you.
also.
I'm just riffing off of the
some role-playing
John
level
Wick
shit
stuff.
and real.
Yeah. And another reason is for protection for children, because children tend to be more vulnerable than the others, and there are really cool backpacks. I actually have one that have like sleeves in them.
Yeah, for the slide-in plate.
For the slide-in plate.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's totally okay to have like on school grounds and all like.
Nice.
You know, you might like run into some like bureaucrat that like searches a kid's backpack and finds that and like tries to act like they know what they're talking about,
right? Yeah.
And be like, "Oh, this isn't
We
allowed."
will write a very
Right.
stern letter to the
Right.
parents of this particular pupil.
Right. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just extra protection, and you could even play into their maybe gun control-y concerns and be like, hey, well, mass shootings, like, they happen every other day, man. So, like, you know, we've got to protect our children and like, you know, just first thing, get your kids out of government school if you're liberty leaning and you still do that. But if you, for some reason you haven't yet, this might be like a good idea.
Get your kids out of government schools.
Yep.
Get your kids out of government schools.
Yep.
Get your kids out of government schools.
If you take anything away from this episode, please have it be that.
Like, I'm sorry to give you the straight up Republican line, but parents need to be raising their children. Raise your children. Don't hand them off to these psychopaths that are selling weaponry to everyone on Earth that thrive on conflict throughout the globe. Don't hand them your children.
Yeah, stop outsourcing your responsibility. People nowadays think that, oh, I got a kid, well, I better send it to school for most of the fucking day, and then, you know, feed it, you know, bathe it, and send it off to do that, and that's what makes them a good parent. No. That is not what makes you a good parent. Getting your kid to public school on time every day does not make you a good parent.
No.
Sorry. Doesn't work like that.
No.
You know, following the prescribed method.
If you want your children to be trained in gang membership, send them off to school. If that's what you want if that's what you want of your children, then that's the best possible place to learn gang-like behavior.
The whole gangland, 80s, 90s, trope that was in the movies and all that kind of stuff. I can just see some, poor lady in the ghetto, like, crying about, oh, my son's getting involved in gangs, but I gotta make sure he gets to school. The biggest gang in the world, right, runs that place.
So in reality, if you punch someone in the face, you go to jail. In school, you beat the absolute shit out of someone, you get sent home for a week.
Sounds like being a cop.
Seriously.
It does.
This is
Membership
the perfect
has its
place
privileges.
to train people for gang behavior.
Yeah.
This is not where you train people to be human beings.
603-283-6160.
So we have a number 5,
All right.
which is public
And
events.
we'll
And-
figure out what number 5 is after we take our break. And I said I was going to have a very specific band for the break music.
You did indeed.
And here we go. We're going to be back in, 10 minutes or so. Stand by, everybody. 603-283-6160. Second half of Beard Talk Live coming up.
trying to put up a fight. Try as you will, but you'll never forget this dark night. Can't you see that to us it's not labor, it's love? Oh no, thicker than blood. Rip you, tear you, eating your flesh to the core. Crave you, need you, your taste leaves us wanting much more. I can't believe that you're trying to put up a fight. Try as you will, but you'll never forget this dark night. Can't you see that to us it's not labor, it's love? Oh no, thicker than blood. It's not labor, it's love. Oh no, oh no, whoa, no, thicker than blood. Thicker than blood.
of your last breath, choking on a bite.
We were too good. We took break too well.
Right.
And then we had to say, wait a minute, there's still some break time left. And now I feel much better because now it was actually just a couple minutes more than 10 minutes. And so we took longer than we intended to, which makes me feel good. I think that's a much better way to take your break time. This is not advice. I'm just a host of a live streaming show called Beard Talk Live.
Do not try this at home.
Yeah.
Unless you want to try this at our home. 'Cause,
Well,
I mean, really, this is basically just us chilling.
This is the world's greatest living room.
Right.
There's a telephone number if you want to call in, because it is a call-in show, and there's been a couple callers who held for a while, and we didn't get around to them because we were having conversations. You know,
But we've also had good callers tonight.
we have, yeah. The phone number 603-283-6160 should be on your wherever the fuck your TV screen is somewhere. It'll be TV screen. Listen to me. That's how old I am. On your phone, on the screen of the website or app you're using to view this video.
I could watch Odyssey for my TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, like because it's like a smart TV, so it like has apps, and Odyssey is like an app that you can actually download onto your TV. Just we're living in the 21st century, man. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yep.
In the studio, it's myself, the captain,
Zephin,
and Bigless Mountaineer.
What a fucking show, man!
What a fucking show!
It's been pretty damn good so far.
I know. I felt like we've fit so many different topics in, and and just good shit. So do you guys want to do number 5?
Number 5.
All right. So number 5.
Okay, well, let's recap for those who
yes.
maybe missed the first half or whatever.
Yeah, so basically we're counting up the top 5 reasons that every American should own body armor. And I have a couple of extra reasons that the list didn't include, but
we'll get to those.
Yeah, it's a good list. So number 5, public events. Music concerts, sporting events, and large festivals can often involve drugs, alcohol, and weapons.
Sounds like a good time.
Sounds like Porkfest.
It does.
Yeah. Wearing body armor plate in public events has become more common than many of you might think. And so basically, like, it seems like a good reason to wear body armor if you are at a place with a high density of people, because unlike Porkfest, like, if you go to some of these other events, you might not know the people or trust them as much. And so it's good to just have that extra layer of protection. Better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. It's very similar to firearms. Again, like, just to stress this point, like, if you are to own a sword, it is probably smart for you to own some armor as well.
One of the common things that I ran into when I lived on the West Coast was people who were anti-gun, right? Very, very common for people to be anti-gun, not in that area. And, they would say things like, oh, you don't need a gun, all this kind of thing. And it's like, well, have you ever fired one? And no, like an overwhelming majority of the people I spoke to would answer. Some would say yes.
Yeah, I've run into that too.
And so, like, I'm like, you know what? We can have this conversation after you've gone to the range and fired one. Go take a lesson or get your, cousin Bobby or whatever, somebody to take you out shooting.
Right.
Show you how to handle a gun and fire off a couple rounds. Right. Once you've done that, now come and talk to me about guns.
Yeah.
Because I think their mind is going to change once they've fired one. And I think, like, for me on the topic of guns, it was never a question in my mind because all of my families, and I have multiple sets of parents, all of them were gun owners.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a thing. It was fine. It was in the. It's like, a snowblower is a dangerous instrument to have, right? Lord knows how many snowblower accidents or deaths occur every year. But, like, you still keep one in the garage, right? Now,
well, you don't even need a background check to get a flamethrower. Flamethrowers are agricultural tools.
Oh,
I also wanted to mention that never use dragon's breath on your actual shotgun.
Yes.
that is the use for, like, when you make a cheaper than they will give you on a gun buyback gun.
Beard Talk Live. Who the fuck is this?
Hey, we got through.
Oh, who the fuck is this?
It's me, Rob.
Me, Rob. Hey, me, Rob.
Not me, Rob.
VT Rob.
How you guys doing this
From
evening?
Rob.
We're all right, Rob.
Hey, so you guys were talking about some subjects here that interests me. One of them was, it wasn't in this show, but it was in the last show, because you were talking about the Kennedy assassination, and I've always been fascinated by that. But you mentioned something about the Pepsi company. Can you recite that
the Coke
again?
company. Actually, that one was Ian, I think, that was talking about that one, or was that one the
recall.
caller? Anyway, okay. So where do you want me to start?
Well, I mean, was it the Pepsi company or the Coke company? This first I've heard it.
Well, so, I mean, there's not actually a separation in any of the fascist government now, is there? So, Coke company goes whichever way the wind blows. So right now, they will show you a rainbow Coca-Cola. Isn't that nice? And, you know, they also went, one people, one rule, one drink, Coca-Cola. Because the prevailing wind at the time was German fascism. So that's what they went with. Like, yeah, they're a fucking corporation. Corporations are designed to be sociopathic.
Yes, they are.
And Pepsi's no different, by the way. I mean, they are. I think that a lot of their branding is like, oh, we are like the cool, hip company, like, and we're like for your individual expression and all of that. But then look at who they were in bed with during the Cold War. They were the, what is it? The exclusive supplier of cola for the Soviet Union. So I can't think of two things that are two more diametrically opposed there.
Peakless, you said something about they're designed to be sociopathic. And who designs corporations?
That would be the government.
So the government says if you're going to be a corporation, you have to follow these specific rules, right?
That's correct.
And so they're the ones who designed this organization type. The other thing that it is designed to do is to always be profitable. Right? Now, that's...
Taking into account, of course, that the biggest source of profit is always the government. The cantillionaire effect.
Wow. Hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah. No, like I said, I've always been interested in the Kennedy assassination and stuff, but I never heard that.
Oh, yeah. So the Kennedy assassination. So the biggest overlap I know with Pepsi, in particular with the Kennedy assassination, is just the oil company. Like, you know, all those ingredients on the back of the can, like where they tell you these impronounceable, like tetrahyl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are oil.
I try and read those from time to time and attempt to pronounce them because I think I can.
Right.
Lord knows if I get them right or not.
Right. It's all oil. These are synthetic products. All the synthetic. What do you think we're synthesizing them out of? It's oil byproducts. So and oil is what paid for the Kennedy assassination. Like they were the ones that put up the money that the CIA then arranged everything and handed off to their contacts in the Italian mafia because that's where you get gunmen.
I was just thinking about when Pepsi burned up Michael Jackson, right? Caught his hair on fire. So Pepsi, we'll try and kill you.
Well, that's what they were saying.
That's their slogan.
That's
Pepsi,
what they were saying when they
kill
teamed up with the Soviet Union, right? I mean, well, and one of the deals that they got from the Soviet Union, it was all in paper. It never actually happened, but it was that they would get, I think it was like 5 to 10 warships from the Soviet Union.
Whoa.
Yeah. And all these news media outlets ran with that headline of like, oh, look at the Soviet Union is giving these people like battleships like Pepsi, and Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
It was just the
Pepsi had a
easiest
Navy
way.
is where you're going
Well,
with
no,
that.
it just happened to be the easiest way for the Soviet Union to pay them off.
Well, yeah, because they didn't have any actual money.
Well, yeah, I mean, so their economy has fucked every single part of their production up.
Yep.
Like every single part. You cannot get the right sized anything for anything. But what they are good at is building warships that they don't need anymore.
Hey, so interesting, we're talking about this. Today, or actually, no, it was yesterday, Henry Kissinger turned 100 years old.
God damn it!
How much involvement do you think that cocksucker had?
He is probably the most powerful single individual that I know of. Like, this is his goddamn world.
Yeah.
He has strings on all sides of the entire banking split.
Ooh, I have a question for you guys. Who do you think is worse, Kissinger or Madeleine Albright?
Kissinger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess it would depend on how we're measuring it. Like, who do you think is more evil, I guess is a better question, not in terms of who.
Kissinger.
Kissinger?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Kissinger, definitely. He's had ties all the way back, past fucking Nixon and, Kennedy all the way.
Yeah, he's old tyrant.
You know how...
fucking years old.
Okay, well, what about Fauci or Kissinger?
Hold on. So you know how the USSR got propped up by the American economy the entire time they existed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is currently what is going on in China, and it is Kissinger that did that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. All of the American research, especially, like massive exodus of research that used to be done in the U.S. being done in China now. But all of the American industries, it's been this long-term game, and it was Kissinger that opened that up. That's what Kissinger did.
Go ahead and type Henry Kissinger's name into Google for today. You'll see he did a hell of a lot more shit than what people realize. Story came out about 3 days ago. The guy's a fucking absolute horrible human being.
Oh, yeah.
I know about how bad he is. It doesn't surprise me, but it's just so hard to rank these people because they all do evil things like that have these different impacts.
Okay, well,
hang on.
Here's a fun one.
I have a question for Rob, though. Rob, what's the most evil thing that Kissinger did?
Oh, that's a good question.
Killed people, had people killed.
Well, can you be specific, though?
Is there a specific incident?
I don't know. I wasn't there, so I couldn't tell you.
But it sounded like you've maybe read up on it a little bit.
Obviously, I mean, how many years he's been involved with all of these politicians and all of the shit that they say about him.
But is there one time that he just really fucked up? Is there
within the last 3 days.
There an Iran-Contra moment?
So you told us the news was he turned 100. What was the news in the last 3 days?
There was a story that came out 3 days ago that is talking about that there's more information in it, that shit that he did that a lot of people didn't know about that has come out. It's an investigation.
Ooh, are they throwing Kissinger under the bus?
They've thrown quite a few people under the bus so far.
The bus is pretty old.
This is what he gets for telling them to stop the nuclear war.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He did say that.
Yeah. It's extremely uncomfortable to be on the same side as him, even officially.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to pull a story up here. I got to put on my glasses, but no, it's interesting that, that this was all kept. I mean, I'm not surprised. Nothing surprised me in this fucking world anymore.
What surprised me is that it's coming out. And he's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is he
this
so
guy.
old? I mean, if you're that, well, okay, yeah.
Probably lives in a
Bastards live forever.
Yeah, the adrenochrome.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, probably. There is the whole so exactly how many stem cells has he had injected?
Yeah.
Over the course of his life.
He's probably not eating the same food we are.
It's
Yeah,
like that.
that's true.
It's like that South Park skit where like
It's whacked
they
out
were
on space cabbage.
they were doing stem cell research, which was basically just this guy that was sticking a straw into like a fetus and like sucking it like a straw.
Yeah,
and,
that's Henry Kissinger for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So here's something.
Literally and metaphorically.
Yeah. Do you know he was once voted sexiest man alive?
Ew.
Hey, did you know that?
Yes, that is the correct response.
And I don't see
Kissinger?
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When he was a fucking infant? Huh? No.
Teenage years.
If I had to hazard a guess,
didn't
it
know.
was shortly after he was at Bohemian Grove with Nixon. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Looking really sexy
I don't
after
know.
that.
I mean,
Here's something I bet you didn't know. He was on the list of one of the people that flew over to Epstein Island.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, they all are.
Yeah.
Imagine my show.
Wow.
You mean he doesn't own the island outright?
But I think that's another story. But I think that Epstein, I think he blackmailed all those people. That's why he was killed.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think
That's absolutely
all
what
those
happened.
people that-
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we
people
ever. Speaking of the island, I don't know if we ever followed up the like DA that was prosecuting, like I think it was Chase for their involvement in Epstein Island. Not there anymore.
Silence.
Nope.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So you go after Epstein Island, you're out.
Do you remember the name of the broad?
I forget.
Oh,
Wait, you mean
Jesus
Ghislaine
Christ.
Maxwell?
No.
Elaine Maxwell.
No,
No,
it's
no,
it
not-
was on a previous Free Talk Live that we mentioned her, and I forgot what her name is. It's on one of my phones somewhere.
Well, something about Ghislaine Maxwell is that when she was hiding out, guess which state she picked for maximum privacy?
This one.
Yep, the most private state in the country. That's also like shocking.
Yeah, so
Who
that's
owns
the
that
double-edged
compound?
sword of writing it into the state constitution.
Well, privacy does have drawbacks, but it doesn't make it any less fundamental of a right.
Yeah.
But who knows? Hey, maybe Henry Kissinger's there.
I mean, we wouldn't know.
Who would
Maybe
know?
that's where he's fucking living out the rest of his, horrible fucking miserable life. Hopefully,
I highly doubt it.
For all I know, they send him into orbit to properly digest his babies. I mean, who knows where the fuck that ancient tyrant is at any given moment.
Well, we do have a Space Force base in New Hampshire.
I thought that
So creepy.
Generally speaking, though, the reptiles like to stay out of the sun.
There is that.
Yeah.
There is that. Yeah, so his reputation among his own crowd, though, like they're pissed at him because he just flaunts his wealth and power all of the time. They're like, dude shows up in like the big cavalcade of cars with all the flags on it. Like, we're trying to have a secret meeting here, dude. That's his reputation because he's like, nah, fuck it. What's the point of running the world if I don't, brag about it?
Showing up to a uniform event dressed as Elton John.
It sucks that people don't know who people like Henry Kissinger are, because like he is just so bad. But everybody knows who Obama is. Everybody knows who Hillary Clinton is. But this man has had a much bigger influence in some respects.
It is a
than even them.
generational thing, in my opinion, right? The generation before me was, Nixon, right?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And then, Carter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Reagan, right? And so like the progression is always there, but the knowledge, the level of knowledge is directly proportionate to a person's age for most people, right? Because they lived through it, right? They've been watching the news for so long and they're like, oh yeah, I remember that, right?
Right.
And so the generational portion of this sort of sifting through history is an interesting dynamic to study. like how humans sort of overcome that with, well, in digital media now, right? But originally books, right? Were like that. Those were the golden, like you wanted real wealth. The books were where the wealth was at, you know, not in somebody's carriage or, you know, in somebody's farm or somebody's kingdom or whatever, right? The real knowledge was in the books. But now that like information is so freely available, it's like, it's almost like it no longer has that value.
Well, and I've sort of seen this go both ways, right? I've seen people that are my age that fucking know everything, you know, because all of the information is out there.
Yeah.
So they just like deeply dive into a topic and you're like, wow, I can't believe this person knows this much about it. And then the other, on the other side, it's allowed for them to be so dumbed down that you watch these interviews of people on the street and you're like, you know, like, where's Australia? And they like point to New York or something. You know, so
wow.
Yeah,
that's
so. I mean, you also have that. So I almost wonder if that's one of the dangers of technology. Is that
Rob? Did we lose you?
Right.
I suspect we did because I can see that you're calling again, unless there's two of you. In which case, the world is far worse off than I suspected.
It seems like there are double of a couple people.
Yeah, let's.
I don't want a copy of me anywhere. That's why I'm not an organ donor.
Beard Talk Live, who the fuck is this? All right, that's not the one.
Well, thank you, Ghost.
Beard Talk Live, who the fuck is this?
It's Ricky from the fucking Commonwealth there, brother captain.
I thought we settled this last time. It's Ricky from the Common Fucking Wealth.
Well, from what's the difference?
The Ricky from the fucking Commonwealth or Ricky
Right.
from the Common Fucking Wealth?
I think mine has a much better ring to it, you know?
How about Ricky
Kind of
from the
has
common
that
titty
sound
fucking wealth?
It could be.
How about Ricky?
Hey,
the
maybe Ricky
communist?
knows. Maybe Ricky knows. Ricky, you've heard people say Jesus Christ, right? Like when they're mad.
I have.
You've heard people say Jesus fucking Christ when they're mad, right?
I heard that too.
Have you heard Jesus titty fucking Christ?
That I have not. That's
I've
a new
heard
one,
that.
Captain.
Okay, so
I haven't. Where did they say that one? Did they say that in New Hampshire? Did I miss something?
it's.
I don't know. Maybe it
I
was a
don't-
California thing. Maybe like a
I
West
feel
Coast
like
thing.
it's older than I can even remember, but it's a
I
less
never heard that one before. That's a new one on me, and I've heard just about everything.
it's a less common used term. But my question, of course, isn't like I know where Jesus, you know, the story of the Bible, right? I know where Jesus Christ,
Of
right,
course,
comes
I'm
like
not
Jesus
thinking
Christ,
about
right? I know where that comes from. And then once cussing sort of, you know, was invented, then Jesus fucking Christ. I get that. I get how we got there. I don't know how titty fucking got put in the middle of Jesus Christ.
We would get banned on
Brother
so many
Captain, they
radio
had
stations
cursing
right now if
2,000
we
some
were
odd
on
years
there.
ago. You know, it ain't like cursing's new. That's been around a lot longer than 2,000 years ago, you know?
Oh, check this out. Cursing's actually older than humans.
I don't know about that.
No,
Wait,
check
wait.
this out.
Didn't humans
might be
invent
right.
cursing?
No,
I mean,
no,
you
no.
might be
Check
right.
this out. So chimpanzees and that lot, they have a special cry, several in fact, for different kinds of predators that are completely outside of their ordinary emotional brain. Like it accesses their lizard brain, and that is exactly what gets accessed.
You talking about Kissinger
in human
again?
brains. Well. So there's
Well, you know
the
what I'm thinking,
the reptilian complex, the R complex in the center of the brain is the part that is working when you cuss. It isn't your language brain.
I love that part of my brain.
Yeah.
Apparently. I mean, like just based on the evidence of how I talk.
It's the run, eat, fuck part of your brain. It's great.
Yeah. So the government actively tries to suppress that part of the brain by banning these curse words. So they are literally cutting off a section of your brain, I think, as another layer of control.
Well, it's that they don't want communication to have that power. Because if you can access, because that's the thing, like if you just keep cussing, then it gets boring. But if you use the power of your deepest motivational parts of your brain and then use that to weave a narrative, it might become more powerful than theirs. And that's the thing they have to stop. They can't let you make a powerful message. That's their fucking job. Because then
No
people might
doubt.
start thinking there's a different world that's possible than the one that they fed them.
Okay, that's fine and everything, but where did the titty fucking come from?
Okay.
And Jesus
I don't know,
titty
you
fucking
seem to be
Christ.
authority on
So
that, Brother
Jesus
Captain. Why don't you
fucking
tell
Christ
us?
is pretty obvious. Jesus Christ, like you can stub your toe sometimes. Go Jesus fucking Christ.
Right. Yep.
I remember
You know,
my mother used
stub
to
your
say,
toe.
"Fuck
Jesus
me, Agnes,"
Christ.
whatever
Oh,
that
I
means.
Wait, what about your mom, Ricky?
My mom
Oh,
used.
great.
I've heard some others say this. She would like stub her toe and say, "Fuck me, Agnes."
Fuck me, Agnes.
Yes, and it actually exists. Look it up on the internet.
Who's this
It's not
Agnes
just my
person?
shit.
Sure got around.
Who is
Yeah.
Agnes that is their own curse word, apparently?
Who's
I like to know
Agnes?
who the fuck Agnes is and why that's. Never mind.
A
Like-
prolific drug dealer. Fuck me up.
Fuck me, Agnes.
Well, you know, I thought you were going peakless with that. I was thinking about, you know, like you were saying about that. Because I was thinking, because I'm Gnostic, and I'm thinking of spiritual beings. Like, look at Yahweh.
we get to have the
Look
Gnostic
at- no, hold on,
conversation.
Peakless, hold on.
Awesome.
You think
Again.
about Yahweh and where
Did we?
Yahweh comes from. You know what I
Well,
mean?
so
He's a
I'm kind of a
spiritual
counter
being without
Gnostic.
form.
I just remember you throwing around that word a bunch last episode.
Okay,
Well,
so
you know what it is. I
so
had
the
disturbing things happen
Gnostic
in my life
narrative.
All
that
right,
make it all fucked
Peakless,
up.
Ricky,
Real
Peakless,
briefly?
Rickley.
Yeah.
You guys both got to stop talking over each other.
All right.
Don't make me pull
Okay.
this
All right.
fucking internet stream over. You'll be sorry.
Okay. So the Gnostic narrative, their fundamental premise is that wisdom is gained by your personal experience of the divine. But since they're a religion, they have a story about, like, here is what people have experienced of the divine that have followed this path. And the idea basically goes, so there's the actual God, like the actual perfect one, and then there's this demiurge that made our shit universe. And
That's just about
it was,
right. That's
it was an
a shove it there,
approximation of like the perfect world, but you know, shitty.
Well, you know, I guess Yahweh would be considered a bit of a deviant, you know, maybe a bit of a juvenile delinquent growing up, shit like that. That's basically the characteristic of Yahweh was on his world, his plane. I should say the other realm, because what we would know today as a universe. I mean, not a universe, a dimension. I'm sorry.
Okay, so my perspective is completely the opposite of that. I think that the fundamental background reality of existence is pure potential and utter chaos. And that, I think, is where the shitty part of reality is. Because since everything's happening, nothing's happening. How fucking boring is that? So to my mind, that's the shitty reality. And here we have things actually happening. And because they're not all happening at once, they're actually really being experienced. And that, to me, is a more perfect world than this potential blah of just unemerged consciousness.
Well, and also you got to look at this when it comes down to it. When it comes to Gnosticism, there's all kinds of stuff involved. But I'm just going to look at this part here. Yahweh was the one who created, like, the earth. That was Yahweh, you know? Not the other realms. They were already there, you know? You know what I mean?
Well, in that story, the only thing that is there without Yahweh, actually, no, that was Elohim, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was way before Yahweh. This was Elohim.
Yeah, no, or we say Adonai, Jews, but Adonai came about when God explained to Moses what God was. It was I am that I am, and that spells out Yahweh.
So until then, weirdly enough, it wasn't even God; it was gods.
Right.
Like Elohim.
Yeah, Elohim is plural.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
in the King James version, this gets translated as Lord God. But what it is originally is Yod He Vav He, however the hell that's pronounced.
Yeah.
Elohim, and Elohim is a plural word for gods. It encapsulates singularity, plurality, masculinity, and femininity. But it still is plural. So it's gods. It's the gods.
Right,
So-
because from the Greek, Lord was just a term of authority. That's all it was.
So here's my perspective on it, is in the gods, in that which is worth telling stories about, there are things that are awesome. And if you take the unified principle of all of the things that are awesome, that are worth telling stories about, then you have this idea of the one thing that is really worth telling the story about. And that would be God, which is the unification of gods. And the gods being the archetypical things that continue to always exist in human reality.
And again, I'm left with just the one question.
Yo.
What about the titty fucking? Where did that fucking come from, man? Like,
so
like
that's
God
your
or gods,
first,
God
so
or gods.
That's
I
your
don't,
first
goddamned
curse word. Any god gets to be a curse word. Now that we've given an entire possible
right.
structure of gods, so the Jesus Christ part is eliminated from the equation. Now the titty fucking.
Pick a god that has 2 words.
Pick a god, any god.
Pick a god that has 2 words. Any god that has 2 words in it. Pick a god.
Thor the Red.
That's 3 words. Okay, would you say
Thor?
Would you be like Thor the titty fucking red
titty fucking Thor?
I mean, would you do that to another deity?
Red
would you just
titty
throw
fucking
titty
Thor?
fucking in the middle of its like first and last name, and then call that a like
you
more
may have
embellished
just
cuss word?
invented my very favorite curse word. Red titty fucking Thor.
Something like
I'll be honest with you.
amazing happens.
I mean, one thing I am looking forward to, because it was uncertain my future because of what happened, but I am looking forward to, despite previous problems, I'm looking forward to having that long discussion with Ari about more seriousness, which isn't for this show. You know, not only about the knowledge of Gnostics, but also the mysticism and stuff. I'm not going to get into that here. This
Why
is
not?
more.
No. Hang on. So the
But
first
it's
thing I'd like to
maritime
hold on. The
law.
first thing
That
I'd like to
ain't
point out
appropriate.
is that one of the reasons that we fight for the right to do whatever fucking substance you want to is so that you can choose to have a mystical experience.
100%.
Contact whatever the fuck that thing is that is really hard to describe, because there is a slipperiness to it, and there's also a constancy to it that allows us to still communicate about it. So to explore that, really fucking important. And yeah, you can get there from doing the saunas or like running off into the desert and dehydrating yourself, or all of these ways, but like, or you can just like eat this mushroom.
It's a spiritual cheat code.
Yeah, I think it's natural for humans to want to seek an altered state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we're explorers at our hearts. You know, if we see a little undiscovered area, we're going to go explore that bitch, because that's what humans do.
I think if done responsibly, using psychedelics can actually make you a much better person.
There's evidence for that.
No doubt.
Yeah, no, there's evidence for that. Just the microdosing for the veterans alone.
100%.
The relief of the
PTSD, suicidality.
Yeah.
It's wonderful for
just those things alone.
Well, the thing that makes me think that people are absolute fucking monsters for being against this is that there are people that use it for end-of-life care.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if they know that they're going to die, they take mushrooms, and, like, the data is clear. Like, they experience a substantial increase in, like, peace, you know, and lower levels of anxiety and all of these different things that they just wouldn't have if they hadn't done this experience, and the government makes it fucking illegal.
Well, Big Pharma wants to get, you know, the antidepressants, the antipsychotics, the opiates, you know?
Yeah, well,
they
fuck
want to
Big
keep
Pharma.
us in perpetual pain.
Yeah.
As long as there's something wrong with us, then they can prescribe another pill for that.
They want perpetual pain subscribers.
Yes.
Yeah, well, why do you think they're still continuing to push the boosters for the COVID vax? Like, I went to Rite Aid the other day. I went to Rite Aid the other day, and they were like, oh, if you haven't gotten a shot in the last 3 months, you're eligible for another booster. So they're still
I'm eligible.
It.
Oh my gosh! The government does that shit too.
Yeah.
With some of they're like, you could qualify. Right? They use this language, and like makes you feel like you won the fuck. I qualified for like some sort of a fucking tax thing, right? Like you didn't qualify. You're being used. You're being manipulated by psychopaths, right? Who are drawing you in with the lure of extra money.
Well, I'm sure Rite Aid only put that ad out because it gets a federal grant to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really simple as that.
I mean,
yeah, on a funny,
it's a pretty obvious
side
scam,
note.
really. Like they spend money on whatever
Thanks for
we will
pointing
let
that
them
out,
get away
Phoenix.
with spending money on. And that's why the military-industrial complex got as big and as fast as it did, was because people are always willing to be, scared for their existence and hand that money over to you. But now they're scared for their existence because of the virus. So they're happy to take a blind eye to any amount of spending on this miracle cure-all that keeps you from transmitting the virus. Oh, it doesn't? Well, it keeps you from... No, it doesn't. Oh, Well, you should get the booster.
Well, I know so many people who still think that the shot has protective qualities. Like, I literally know people that like are pregnant, and they're like, oh, I can't be around unvaccinated people because it'll affect the baby or whatever.
Oh my
As they proceed to get COVID over and over again.
Yeah, I know somebody
And
that
they're vaccinated.
I know somebody that got the vaccine, just one shot, one round.
Yeah.
And then they got COVID, and they say this. They say, I got over it in like a week, and I can only imagine how bad it would have been had I not gotten the shot. And I'm like, oh my God, the shot did nothing for you. You got it. Most people get over it in about a week.
Oh, I forget who it was, but
Well,
this
that's what happened
big
to me
monkey
when
muck,
I had
like
COVID in
half her
March of
face
20.
is paralyzed.
Yeah,
clearly.
Yeah.
And she's saying how great it was that she could take this thing.
This is cognitive Stockholm dissonance syndrome. It's all one phrase now, cognitive Stockholm dissonance syndrome. It is both of those two things together infecting a human, causing them to love the thing that causes them the most pain.
Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, because that
No,
shit
wait
was
a minute. One
straight.
thing I did want to mention. One thing I want to mention there, Peakless,
is
I don't like you said. I'm not. You could talk about Gnosticism for hours. I ain't gonna do that. But one thing I did want to say is, as a high-level Gnostic, one of the things that's very important to learn and understand is the motto: only by getting in touch with the divinity within all of us, only then can you yourself truly be divine. Now that's considered heresies, of course.
Yeah,
But
that's what. Heresy is why I took the papal name of Hereticus.
I don't know that I agree with that statement, though, because I think a person can be divine without being aware of it.
Well, that's kind of bullshit. What's the point of that?
I mean, just as an animal can be divine without being aware of it, right? In that same way.
I agree with Ricky on this. Well, that's fucking bullshit. What's the point of that?
I think I remember my question from earlier. So, Ricky, I just like figuring you out as a person, because some days you're a Confederate, some days you're a communist. So,
dude, wait a minute.
like,
I am never a fucking communist. Excuse me.
you have been a communist in the past, if I recall correctly.
Oh, not by his language, by me. I keep calling him a communist because that's what a commonwealth
you keep trying
is,
to call
Ricky.
me a fucking status.
Ricky,
I'm still trying to how you're going to have
commonwealth.
judges be there for free.
Ricky,
And have a court
commune wealth.
Communal wealth, commonwealth.
Ricky, do you believe in a government?
Do I believe in a government?
Yeah, do you believe in a
He
government?
thinks we need a little tiny one.
Then you're a fucking communist.
Okay, let me ask you this fucking question, Peakless. You're going to have a court system, according to you.
Oh,
earlier,
yeah,
you said.
100%.
Now, but you're going to have it. How are you going to have that?
Okay.
Is it gonna be
Super
a court
easy.
system?
Without government intervention, that's how.
Same way we have
So you
Netflix
will
and
be the
Hulu.
judge then, Peakless.
So here's the awesome thing about it. We're all the king. So I get to be in this community of people who know me, and they can absolutely judge me. Yeah, they have that right. These are my community. And sometimes we even do like little rituals where we like go to each other's weddings and shit, just to be like, yeah, these are the people that I'm accountable for. Like, my
Now, here's
sins are
the
theirs
thing.
and theirs are mine. This is my fucking community. This is who knows me, who can judge me. Yeah, that's how it works. It's really, really, really easy. They just have to get out of the goddamn way.
Yeah.
Here, that's wonderful, Peakless. Well, one thing I'll say, when it comes to secession, to secede, you can't have an anarchist point of view. I would be fine with that as a person. I would be. But you got to get 60% in Pennsylvania. From what I understand, 67 in New Hampshire.
Yeah, but
So
you're
an
assuming that
anarchist
voting.
Dude, if you lash yourself to Philadelphia, you'll never make it.
You're assuming also, Ricky, that voting is the only way to accomplish that goal. That is not true.
Well, okay. Now, what would be your suggestion there, Captain?
It's a
I'm all
multifaceted
for it.
approach.
The what?
My suggestion is what New Hampshire's got going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which is
here's
what?
the thing. We
No, I'm
just
familiar with
hold
New Hampshire.
on. Hold on. So here's the thing. You are trying to do a system thing to turn the ship around.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're doing is building our own ship over here. But ours is a motorboat because we have advanced technology, because actually there's this tremendous wealth of advanced technology that's being completely suppressed.
But
I
here's
wouldn't
the
even
problem.
say it would have a rudder. I'd say it could fly.
You're still with fucking status. So how are you going to be building
Yeah,
your
I mean,
ship
that's,
around?
you're right. That is a
How are
much
you
better.
doing that? How
We're
are you
building a
doing that?
fucking helicopter. This ship is sinking, and we're not bailing it out. We're building a helicopter, and we're not getting on the lifeboats. No,
Yeah, but
we're
the
building
problem
a
is
helicopter.
right now, Sununu is your captain of that helicopter.
Oh,
people.
fuck no, he isn't.
Sununu's not my
Well,
fucking
okay,
captain, dude.
reality,
Fuck.
though, you got Sununu, you got all these other status. You got more fucking status and worse ones than I got here. So let me ask
Well,
you
yeah,
something. How
because
you
we have
feel
better
about
representation than you. Like
Huh?
we have 400 state reps, like for the whole state,
Yeah,
which
but
makes it
but
like
you got, like
the best
1.3
representation on
million
earth.
people. You know, what
We
the
have
hell you need
1.5.
that much representation for?
Oh,
because
why would you want to make it difficult to bribe politicians?
Dude, we have a
Gee, let me
So,
think
well-
if there's a reason or two.
we have 100 libertarians in the state house and senate, dude. Like this is New Hampshire is unparalleled in the amount of
But
like
you still can't
anarchist,
get a vote on
pro-liberty
secession.
people we have in.
I'm
Good.
with libertarians. I'm about
Good.
secession.
Did,
Libertarians can't get their shit together.
Did
They
did
talk
Dude,
the
our
big
shit's
talk.
together.
They don't walk the
We're
walk.
building it. It's right here.
We're
It is
closer-
currently being brought into existence.
We're closer than any other movement on earth to actually achieving
Can I
liberty.
make a point?
No.
Can I make a point?
No, you can't.
Now,
You can
back
try.
In the 90s. In the 90s. This is the last time secession came up in PA. Now, that was a serious discussion with not only Democrats but Republicans for it. Now, at that time, did it happen? No. But what did happen as a result was the Independent Sovereignty Act. But my point is, as an example, you get a guy like Congressman Cartwright. He was asked at the time, well, what would happen to you? You'd be out of a job. You know what his answer is? That's what the people would want, and that's okay.
Well, you know,
So, I mean,
Ricky,
the
sometimes
potential
you
for
try and
secession
make
is
a
there.
point, and then you start talking about a
I know.
completely different thing
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
mid-stride.
point is, the potential for secession is there.
Fuck that. Look, we're not trying to get their document to let us go.
Yeah.
Then
I
how are you
don't
gonna
care
do, Pete?
whether
Yeah.
we
How
can
you
do
gonna
that
do
or
it,
not.
Pete?
However, what I am trying to do
How you gonna
is
do it?
change
Violate
the
non-aggressive
society.
principle?
I'm muting the phone there just for a minute.
What I am trying to do is change the society instead. Like, we're not
Okay,
voting our way out of this.
And what are you going to do? Violate the non-aggressive principle then?
No,
And
dude.
No.
Every dollar that
Oh
we
my
put
God.
into
Why
Bitcoin is fucking secession.
Why is everybody so one-track minded about this thing? Everybody thinks that any kind of a freedom movement is going to end in warfare.
Well, Piglin's way it would because he's going to force
dude,
them to do
dude,
something.
like no force
No,
is even
you're
required.
not getting it, dude.
This is
The
not
way
a
that-
revolution; it's an evolution.
Right. So
and
the
you're
way
just going
that
to say, we're not going to do it anymore. We quit.
so
Dude,
don't
it's not
want
about
to
quitting.
anymore,
We're
you're gonna
fucking losing. This is like not a good relationship, man. It's like we're in an abusive, like spousal relationship, and we're the battered wife.
Damn, battered voter syndrome.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, but the problem is...
I swear, Ricky, this time it'll be different. This time the massa
No, that
won't
ain't the
beat me
point.
as
It's
hard.
there. Now you've got to blow the damn thing away. That's the only answer. You can't say we're going to have society be together, but then you still got to blow the U.S. Constitution away
Yes.
and get rid of the
Yeah.
federal government.
Yes.
You can't just say, "Oh, it's going to go away."
It just
We're different,
says
so we're going
con.
to ignore you and move on.
yeah. Here's what you replace it with, Ricky: the non-aggression principle.
Yeah.
which I'm perfectly fine with. I follow
Apparently
it
not
myself.
if you support even like a little bit of government.
Yeah.
I guess he could live in a
Yeah,
private
but here's
community
the
that has
thing.
a consensual government in theory, but I think he wants
No,
to
no,
put
no,
us
no,
into
no,
his
no,
system.
no.
In New Hampshire.
That ain't government. So the organization
okay.
hang
In New
on,
Hampshire,
Ricky,
you have
Ricky, give me 1
libertarians,
sec.
Ricky,
Democrats,
don't make
you
me
got
do it, Ricky.
Republicans.
Okay.
All right, it's done.
So the organization type known as government is defined by the fact that you don't get an option.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like politics isn't a choice.
Yeah.
Right.
The government is a thing that is done to you. So a little bit of government could not, you can't have them both volunteering for it.
I'm just saying
and
that,
it be rape.
I'm just saying that if they're into that kinky shit, like that's up to them.
not. Look, so there's
Like
a
if they have statism in the
that's-
privacy of their own
that's
bedroom.
statism role play.
Yes.
Statism role play is
Yes.
totally allowed.
Okay.
100%.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
If you want to do full on reenactment of statism, like go nuts.
Well, I mean, Ricky's already a porn star, so he should, be into that.
Let's find out. Ricky, are you into that at all?
What's that?
Role playing as a statist in the bedroom.
What are you trying to be fucking insulting to me? I'm going to say
No.
something
No.
right here.
Hold on.
Of
So
1.1 million people.
No, I wasn't trying to be
How many of them are going to accept an anarchist society? I would. I'd be fine for it, people.
well, check
how many
this
in New
out.
Hampshire would?
Well, check
how
this
much
out.
of a percentage of that 1.1
Ricky,
million?
you can't ask me a question then keep talking.
Well, he can,
Well,
and he
okay.
continues to
I
do
asked-
so, which is why he's fucking annoying.
Like then you're pretending to ask me a question, and I don't like being don't cock tease me, Ricky, with a question. I get answer blue balls. It's not fun.
You cannot distribute this pornography.
Okay, so how is the entire world going to figure out libertarianism? Well, I'll tell ya. The money.
Yep.
The very values of libertarianism are being carried on the back of the greatest money system that could possibly be dreamt for an organism like humanity.
I know religious people that claim cryptocurrency is a miracle.
It is.
It absolutely is.
At least. I mean,
You
look,
still
so
haven't answered the
there's
question yet, people.
that is how the idea of liberty gets distributed everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just becomes obvious. It becomes common sense because it always was.
Yep.
So let me see if I understand this correctly. You're going to use the money, which is fine, within society, but you still have a
Yes.
statist government.
Oh, I will.
And-
Okay,
and
so let me
somehow
put it
that's
to you
gonna
this
just
way.
Go away.
Let me put it to you this way. So there's an old communist saying that a capitalist will sell you the rope that you hang them with. And basically that's what I intend to do with the dollar. And in fact, the entire fiat currency system that rests on top of it.
I have no issue with that either.
Right. So all of that wealth is going to move into the good money, the useful money, the clearly advanced money. And that means that the entire system has to move in a libertarian direction. And all of a sudden, the fact that this organization type in particular is the one that never changes will become laughable.
Well, see, all of that would be fine, but still the point is...
It would be,
most libertarians are not anarchists, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, you know the
So how
difference
you gonna
between
have an
do you
anarchist
know
society?
the difference between a minarchist and an anarchist?
I do.
Zevin?
6 months in New Hampshire.
Yep.
So what do you think 6 months of a global currency system that is entirely anarchic in nature is going to do to the people of Earth?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it's going to do? It's going to
What's that? It's
an
gonna radicalize the
evolution.
fuck out of them.
Yeah, it's an evolution, and like we can literally spend our way into the evolution, right? If we evangelize enough and we encourage the adoption and use of this government-free, mathematically superior in every way, able to adapt and have all sorts of new features we haven't even fucking thought of yet, right? Implemented on top of it.
And like it is a long time, but it's like very clearly at the hockey stick moment because okay, so for a reference point, one of the lightning companies, they used to be in 3 countries, and now since they figured out how they, the process of doing this, now there are approximately 3 billion people who have access to the Lightning Network. Now, obviously, it's a tiny percentage of that that's using it, but 3 billion people now have access to a faster version of the one that scares people the least.
Well, okay,
Damn,
but see,
it's game over.
Here's the thing, though. So basically, I understand that it is that you're going to basically teach, like the hardcore, hard right guys, here's how society could be and be better.
Oh, no. So check this out.
Okay,
This
so maybe
is
that's all
actually
I
the
get.
most
You're right.
beautiful part of this entire revolution. So instead of having to have like a war where we instead of having this thing where like I overthrow you tyrants and that means like a bunch of us both die. Instead of that, since this is the age we're in, we just buy them. As our money becomes more valuable than the stupid money, we just pay more for their security services and instruct them, hey, you're not allowed to shoot people in order to keep this job. Oh, okay. Simple as that.
I
but
I
see,
really
in some
wonder
ways,
like what'll
like
happen in a
change government, but you're still not going to get rid of it, Peakless. You may, this
Oh
is
no!
gonna take a
So
long
here's the
time.
thing:
You
the
need to do it now,
services,
same as PA, it's
the
got to be done
services
now.
will
We don't
not
have
be done
100
away.
years to do it.
All right, I have a question for both of you.
Yeah.
How long did it take for once the sort of the slavery abolition movement kicked in the United States? How long did it take from then until now? Is it 60 years?
From
More
the
than
end
that.
of the
It's
end
a
of
lot
slavery.
more than that.
That would
No,
be
from in the United States, from like the
the revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 1776 to 1865.
So 10 years?
No.
100 years.
That would be like 100.
Do the math for
It would
me.
be
I was
like
told
90
there would be no
years.
math.
90 years, yeah.
Okay. All right.
89.
Now then, fast forward to the civil rights movement and the end of segregation.
100 years.
How long did that take? No, just the end of segregation here in the United States.
What year was that?
100 years, 1960s. And
Well, a lot of
slavery
people
ended
say
in
the civil
1865.
rights
Yeah,
movement
maybe
actually
like
started
95
in the
years?
No,
40s.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it really initially started in the 40s, Captain, in all honesty.
Okay, so from the 40s
Yeah, but
until
the 60s was when they were successful.
From the 40s until roughly the 80s, right? Roughly.
Yeah.
All right. So that's 40 years, 50 years, right? So that what I'm illustrating here is the different time frames that it takes for social adjustments to occur within the statist paradigm. Right. So because all of these have happened under the guise of statism. But you notice that these social movements are getting quicker and quicker as time compresses, as time goes on. That's because of technology.
Right. We
the
have
network effect.
Yep. We have so
Spreading
much
of information.
Right.
Yep.
Right, and it's an exponential effect.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, the complete revolutions in technology are popping off left and right.
Yeah.
Like so quickly that we're ignoring half of the ones that are going on already.
Yeah.
Like how many things has AI been applied to now that there's so many versions available?
Yeah.
How many things has that created? Okay. What cryptocurrencies are being devised and haven't been released to the public yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a question for Ryan tonight. That didn't happen. You know?
Hey, I never.
Way to stay on topic.
Yeah, I actually,
Well-
this is good because I didn't get to ask you my question, Ricky. I only brought up that you were a communist and a Confederate to actually lead up to my question.
I am not a communist, man. I know what
Anyway,
a communist is,
anyway,
do
my
you?
question is like,
Better
and you
attitude,
don't have to
maybe.
answer this question. Like, you could be
I'll answer it if I
anonymous
can.
about it. No, I mean like out of privacy
give me a
reasons. But like, did you get the death jab?
Absolutely not.
Okay, all right, because that's
Plus, I
like a
had
good
COVID in March
litmus
the 20. I
test.
said
for
that. You
somebody.
guys didn't hear.
That's a
I
barometer
had the
for you.
original.
That
I was
is
asymptomatic.
absolutely. That's my barometer. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not as strict
Like-
as he is, but it is a factor.
I mean,
I would never get it.
like
Never.
there is this question mark that some people decided to put inside of themselves. They don't know what's going to happen now, but they do know that it was new medical technology that they injected.
Yeah, I did a lot
experimental.
of that in my rock and roll days, where I would put things inside of me that would make me feel
calling it experimental
that were
makes
question
you a
marks.
conspiracy theorist.
Drugs,
but you know what?
drugs, for example. I did some drugs.
Those are way safer than the COVID vax.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I trusted my drug dealers, and I wouldn't put their shit in my veins.
Mm-hmm.
I never did the IV stuff, though.
That's a step too far. I
Yeah,
mean, they could throw the COVID vax in that shit.
When you need to be like medically trained to like administer your fun, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I might.
Well,
be
you know
taking this
what?
a
I've
bit too
talked
far.
in the past about my meth use on Free Talk Live many years ago.
Oh, are you part of the
only
Free
time
Meth
I
Church?
Huh?
Were you part of the Free Meth Church?
I don't believe so. But you know what? The only time I ever did anything with needle was one time. Because I used meth, I used to do 2 lines every other day or so for about 2 years.
Are you missing teeth as well?
Absolutely not. I snorted it. I didn't have an issue with it.
Yeah, he didn't
But here's the
freebase.
thing.
That was a wise decision. Yeah, I was
Of course
brought up
it
on
was.
amphetamines, and I've done a lot of amphetamines. And don't freebase. I only
Definitely
fell for
not.
that
Definitely
trick
not.
twice over a
Yeah,
woman.
bad shit happens to that stuff. It changes molecular structure.
Are they actually good for like study tools? Like, cause I've like.
Oh, it is. Oh, it'll make you sharp, brother.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but then wouldn't
And
you be
it
like
will
lacking
literally
sleep?
shrink your brain in the process.
Right. Yeah. Like, cause I mean, but sleep loss can lead to like
All sorts of fun shit.
Well, yeah, but I
Yeah,
mean,
but
like
you
in
gotta-
particular,
in my
like
case, I would
memory
sleep
loss
2-3
and like
hours
not
a night
having
naturally.
memory
so.
retention.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, I don't have those
the long-term effects are terrible.
I'm sorry. What can it lead to? No, I heard you. I just don't remember.
well, it can lead to like memory loss and like
it
memory
literally
retention
shrinks-
issues. you know?
Like if you take a meth head brain, after they die, and weigh it, it literally shrinks the brain.
So the study benefit would be completely temporary, obviously.
Wait. Okay, so I'm going to summarize this. What you guys are really saying here is that when it comes to Ricky, there's a meth head to his madness.
Yeah, but I haven't did meth since what, 2017. I only did like 2 lines in 2017. Actually, no, I did 2 lines twice.
That's more
And,
recent
the
than I
thing
would have
is,
thought.
in my case, in all honesty, since my early 20s to today, I only sleep 2 to 3 hours a night, and I don't have memory loss. I don't have fogginess, fatigue.
How old
it's
are you?
just my way. You know what I mean?
Ricky, how old are you?
This 25th, I would be turning 50.
I would really, really highly recommend that you speak to a sleep specialist because that is very dangerous.
Are you a doctor, man?
No, but I've read books on this, and this is not something you want to fuck with, dude. Like if.
Well,
like,
wait a minute. I've never had any symptoms of insomnia.
That doesn't
so
matter.
Why
Like,
not?
Because like there are people that don't exhibit signs of like
Ailments.
what's
I might be
what's
exact
what's building
opposite
under
then.
the surface, especially in respect to sleep. And the sleep debt just compounds so much that it could just lead to some really bad stuff. And you're only at 50, so you're really at like a crossroads here, where you could spend like a good amount of decades getting good sleep. So
For what purpose? To sleep my life away? I mean, I don't need it, man.
it's a
just my
biological
way.
function, dude. I mean, like all animals do it because
it's not my way. You want me to take fucking Seroquel and drug my ass up?
No,
I want you to-
absolutely not.
I want you to take melatonin and see if that helps you sleep.
I mean, so I sleep
or
more.
get
For
some
what purpose?
valerian root,
some CBD or
Like-
something.
Yeah.
I've had it. I've
Yeah,
had it.
some
But the point
CBD.
is, what's the purpose?
Like, what is the purpose of sleep?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, I don't
no,
seem to need
it's a
it,
fair
man.
question. So there's
I
actually
don't
two.
seem to need it. I know why it's there, but I don't seem to need
well,
it.
so there's actually 2 functions of dreaming.
I don't do that either.
Well, that's important.
So
Well, there's a reason why I don't dream, man. Because the stuff
Ricky,
that goes
for
into
fuck's
sometimes
sake,
don't
man.
go
Yeah,
there.
Ricky, you can't just ask a question and then keep talking, dude.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. So the two purposes of dreaming, and you actually dream the entire time you're asleep, it's just that you are supposed to forget it. And sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. The rapid eye movement sleep is basically running test scenarios so that your brain has something on file when weird shit happens. So it comes up with random things, throws it at you, sees what you do as a response, and then like you've got that as a backup if something like that kind of happens. Now, the other thing is that all of the experiences that you've had while you're awake get coalesced together and rewired together. Now, the fun part about the non-REM sleep like that, so if someone actually sleeps and they, like, say, start a skiing video game or some completely new task, and then they sleep, they will, as soon as they get a full night's sleep, be way, way better than they were when they stopped. Because the brain has brought together all of the experiences that it had during the day.
And there's so many biological reasons, too. I mean, sleep induces hormone production, so you might be having, like, hormonal issues if you continue this. It also is the... It also... Well, I mean, you want to wait for it to happen? I mean, because...
also, it would kind of be the water that you swim in. You might not notice.
Right, exactly. I mean, these things happen over time, you know? Something else is like muscle rejuvenation. Is that how you say that? Rejuvenation. Like basically, if you're working out a ton and you don't have enough sleep, you're actually burning muscle. So if you sleep and you work out a ton, you'll be burning fat. So it's like the difference between like literally withering away at your muscles or losing fat and becoming more in shape. Like, it's that fundamental, dude.
But I've been this way for like 30 years.
Well, then think about how much better you'll be when you're actually like healing your organs.
Mm-hmm.
And what if this doesn't work out so good? Are you going to give me like some kind of like rebate or something, Peakless?
No, I told you to talk to a sleep specialist. Nope. I'm not saying I'm not giving medical advice.
People, I don't want to talk to them. I know what that's about.
Well, if it doesn't work out, Ricky, there's always meth.
I don't need meth. I don't need it. Like I said, without meth.
I'm not going to give a prescription, but the first thing that I would say, like the easiest like slam dunk, is I would go get some Sleepy Time Extra, because it has the it's tea that they sell in the supermarket, and it's got valerian root in it. So a valerian root tea is about as like completely harmless a thing as you can do to start experimenting with the possibility of sleep. Now, melatonin, as I understand it, is one of the things that if your body just has enough of, it'll kick it out of your system anyway.
Right.
CBD is good too.
Yeah, CBDs are absolutely harmless at their worst.
And there's
also, you know what it is? I like to go back to smoking weed, in all honesty. You know?
Well, yeah, that would probably help. I mean, like...
Well, you know what it is? With my blindness these days, plus I moved from my previous location, you know, it's kind of hard just to... If I can meet up with a buddy, great. I'm gonna go for the medical marijuana card just to pay the money, and then just go out there and buy weed.
Do you have a firearm?
Huh?
Are you a gun owner?
Used to be. I won't carry a gun anymore. I talked about that on Free Talk Live.
Okay. Well, just keep in mind that if you become a medical marijuana, recipient, then you are no longer qualified to buy or own a firearm. So that's for you, but it's also for the listeners, just so that they know.
Yeah, that's BS, man.
No, I agree. It's bullshit. And there are some court cases that are pending that are challenging it, and it's been pretty promising so far, but it continues to get appealed, so.
Because, like, what are they trying to say? It fucking impairs your judgment? But you can drink all the fuck you like and carry a gun.
Right.
It's a Schedule 1 substance. It's like...
No, it's actually Schedule 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As they say in Britain,
right up there with
schedule.
heroin, of course, you know? Fucking weed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm for legalization of all narcotics. Let's be realistic.
Well, what is the point of running any part of the government unless you give jobs to all your cronies? And soon you've run out of jobs, so you need to add more jobs for more cronies. And that's how we got the drug administration.
and literally
At least
every
that's
other
one
new
thing that's
administration that's been
realistically
invented.
changing. That is one thing that's realistically changing. I'll say here in PA, there's a lot of smoke and weed going on down here. I mean, there's smoking everything.
It's all over the place, man.
Way better than tobacco
Dude,
or
if-
alcohol.
If there is any plant in existence that loves humans, it's cannabis.
It's true.
So
It's a fact.
the fact that you can literally build a civilization out of the thing, because you can turn it
Yeah.
into plastic, you can turn it into cloth, you can turn it into building
Rope.
materials, you can turn it into rope. Also
Paper.
Yeah.
Books.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The most important things that humans have, basically.
Yeah.
Information.
Our ability to record knowledge is perfectly helped by this particular plant. Oh, and it's also food. Like,
Food.
Well, you know what it was, too.
Tea.
It's literally the best protein that plants can deliver to a human system. We absorb more protein, like per ounce, per of cannabis seeds than any other form of plant protein in existence.
And
yeah.
And it feels pretty far out, man.
Yeah. And also the two
I mean, that's
oils
the
that
key. I
human
mean, you
beings
gotta
can't
help a little
produce.
bit, you know?
Like there's
I mean, the only thing about people is they just smoke and just sit there. People, you got to learn how to, work with it
No,
to get
yeah,
back.
Well,
exactly.
there's different strains for that too, right? The not strains, but different types. There's indica
Yeah.
and sativa. Sativa is what you want. You're trying to get something done. Yeah, that's sativa, man. But if you're gonna veg out in front of the boob tube or something, man, then you want indica.
I find that hybrids tend to give the best experience if you're just trying to
I
go for
agree.
a generalized.
Little purple haze, little Jamaican
that-
red, nice and green.
Yeah, that appears to be the market's decision, which irritates me to no end.
Oh,
but
is it
like
not-
you can find so many mixes,
Yeah.
many
Yeah,
it's true.
mixes.
Yeah,
and you cannot find straight indica or straight sativa anywhere, because the market clearly has said, yeah, we like to be high in the brain and the body at the same time.
We must purify the cannabis.
You know, I like to be
Oh,
able
that's
to
scary.
decide whether I'm just gonna veg out on the couch or not.
We must engage in marijuana eugenics against the hybrids.
Well, you just gotta watch stuff like Yellow Jack. I mean, Yellow Jack is fine, but it turns into like the wacky weatherman.
I like
it makes some people
I like
paranoid.
anything that
That's
ends
me.
with cookies, specifically the strain called Girl Scout cookies.
If you guys haven't tried sour diesel, that is like
Yeah,
I've heard
the
about
best,
it, but
the
I
best
never tried
strain. But it is a hybrid, so and I think it's hybrid leaning towards sativa. So it does give you. I guess I could talk about an experience I've had with
Why
it.
not? This
yeah.
is Beer Talk
Yeah,
Live.
yeah,
isn't it?
sure. So there was this
I
one
talk
time.
about this shit on Free Talk Live. So go.
All right, Ricky, shut up. Let him talk.
Yeah, so there was this one time that I had sour diesel, and I was like, oh, well, I'm hungry. Let me get some food, right?
As you do.
As you do after you smoke a good bowl. And so I was just like getting a bunch of stuff together. I was getting vegan chicken tenders and like mayonnaise and like blueberries and just being like crazy with it. And then I ate it, and it tasted like all of the things that I've ever eaten with those ingredients in it.
Oh.
So it was like, oh, I'm having like a turkey sandwich and chicken nuggets and all of the things that you can imagine relating to chicken. And then with the mayo, I was having sandwiches and tuna salad sandwich and all of that stuff. And then the blueberries, it was like blueberry pie, blueberry cake, blueberry gum or whatever.
Blueberry pancakes?
Yeah, blueberry pancakes. That was one of the first ones too. And
big of a
I
bowl
was
did you
experiencing all of this at the same time. All of those different flavors from all of the things I've ever had all at once. And I've tried that again with sour diesel, and it never happened again, but it was
How
fun.
big of a bowl did you smoke of that stuff, brother?
Dude, it was when I was a lightweight, so I think I only had 3 hits.
That was it?
Yeah. But
I gotta get me some fucking sour diesel.
well, but it was when I had done it very infrequently, so.
But
and it might have been.
I mean, are you calling into question the size of Zephin's bowls?
No. I was just curious.
We've got the
about
biggest
this.
bowls of them all.
I mean, I have a high tolerance for weed. I've been smoking since I was 15. I haven't had a smoke for a while, you know. So
Well,
I mean, but
it sounds
that's
like you
pretty
should
potent.
smoke
That's
some
pretty
pot
good
and
for 3
go to
hits,
sleep.
You know?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
I think I'd like to have a conversation with Ricky the Stoner.
Right?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Could be. No,
Get freshly baked and call in.
Although,
man.
Ricky,
a little more far out, you know.
Ricky, I don't want to make any medical suggestions because you're right, that is not my
But-
place. But I do want to make a suggestion generally, which is that if you are unvaxxed, it is a very bad idea for you to be unarmed.
Yeah, he's got a point.
Because they fucking hate us, dude. Like they talk about
I
the
know,
they
dude,
talk
but
about
I
the
mean,
unvaccinated.
He's kind of blind.
Oh yeah. So you're blind to what's going
I
on.
can't handle. Okay, imagine if I shot in self-defense and missed, like with my 45 I used to have, my cattle.
Hey, well, it's better than nothing, man.
Grain cartridge with a slug. You hit something, it dies. What if
Well,
I don't hit the proper target? I can't handle that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you could also just fire a warning shot into the air, depending on the situation.
And what the fuck good is that? You'll wind up
Some
dead.
people will
You'll
run,
wind
man.
up dead,
That's all I'm
dude. What
saying.
they got a
So
gun?
if you,
Some people will run from just the sound.
you'd be
But if they
surprised
got
what
a
you can
gun,
do with
I'm
a
dead.
shotgun. Like if you're a blind person, you set the choke right on a shotgun, you're going to get a really wide spray anyway. So
And
yeah.
if you're in a wheelchair, it'll push you way back.
Yeah, but, Ricky, I would really
Yeah, I
recommend
know,
that you
man.
call in when
Also-
when Riley is on, because I think that Riley is a blind gun owner and would probably love to talk to you about this.
Well, I mean, maybe he has different thoughts, but he's also a hell of a lot younger than me. I'm looking at it a little more responsibly, and you got to understand, I've been 20.
He's
I
got
was
some gray,
24.
dude. He's not much younger than you.
Yeah.
Maybe a decade or
I only
two.
got a little gray myself in my sideburns. That's
Well, then
it.
you're
I'm
probably closer to his age than you think.
I don't know. He sounded so young.
He does.
Wow.
He does sound very
young
young.
as fuck. Yeah, that's true.
And that's
I
why he
sounded
doesn't
like
do the
this
voice
since I was
acting
like
on
a
this
kid,
show.
8 years old, so.
I
I've
would
had the same voice since 8, you know?
Yeah. Hey, Ricky, thank you for the call tonight. We appreciate you. We're just gonna.
Oh, did you ever get to get around to reason 6?
no, I did not.
Let's wrap that up.
Yeah, so reason number 6 is off the top of my head, which is just like a bonus reason, which is you could use it as gym equipment. So, like, you can take it to the gym.
The bonus reason for what for our listeners?
Oh, right, sorry. For why to have body armor.
Body armor.
Yep.
Okay.
And so you could bring it to the gym as an extra way of adding weight. You can like wear it on the treadmill. You can wear it walking around. You could wear it like biking. And like
Even
you're
just going for like your morning walk,
or even
whatever.
going for a
Yeah.
morning walk,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, or you can wear it while you're also lifting weights,
Oh, yeah.
so that like compounds the the muscles that you're all working at the same
It
time.
doesn't get in the way. It doesn't pinch.
Not
No,
when
it's,
I've used it.
It's designed for better mobility.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Because you're gonna have to run around with it on
So
and
that-
have a gun.
Yeah, exactly. So that means they also have to distribute it as well as possible. So instead of it being, just like one of the things that can happen with like wrist weights and leg weights, like it's too much all in one area.
Right.
So it can throw you off balance. Whereas with body armor, it's already distributing itself as well as it possibly can according to its design. So it's very comfortable. But you have that extra poundage, just like leg weights and arm weights.
Yeah.
And I guess the last reason that I would give would be that, like, it fits into the broader idea of why you bought a gun in the first place, which is, like, for protection, Like, and if you are going to be shooting a projectile at another human, like, there is a possibility that that other human will also have a projectile to fire at you.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like the thing that you should anticipate. Like, if you don't bring a gun to a gunfight, people might not bring the gun that they have on them. But if you bring a gun to a gunfight, you might get shot.
These are facts.
Yep. And briefly, I wanted to go into like the different levels, like if people were into that. So there's level 2A, which is soft armor, and it's rated to stop 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, and 45 ACP.
Yeah.
This is a good one to wear if you're wanting to do concealed carry. The next one is level 2, which is which protects everything that 2A does, but also protects against 357 Magnum, so a bit bigger. And that's what just my vest is without the actual plate in there, so it could stop quite a bit. And then there's level 3, which is the strongest of the soft, and it stops 45 Magnum, 357 SIG, so that one's good. And then there's level 3, and again, there's only 4 levels, so it's almost done. Level 3 stops anything up to a 7.62 by 51, so that's like huge. Like that's basically
that sounds
like.
big, but there's one more.
Yeah, so that's basically if you get shot by a 308, which is pretty big. And then the last one, level 4, is the strongest, and it can stop a 30-06.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, and that's what my plates are. They're like level 4. So
nice.
But something to keep in mind with these levels is that it's not guaranteed to stop it. You know, like there
It's just like up to.
Yeah, like you're still having to account for all these different factors. Like if they're really close to you, it could still potentially go through, but your chances are way higher. You know, it's just like if you own a firearm. Like if you own a firearm, your chances of dying are there.
Yeah.
But it's important to have.
I'm told, I don't have any practical experience wearing body armor and getting shot. But I'm told that getting shot while wearing body armor does hurt like fuck.
Oh, yeah. It would hurt a lot, but it hurts a lot less than getting
dying,
shot.
Right, yeah. For example.
Yeah.
I just, like that's something that like I didn't think about until somebody told me about it. And I'm like, yeah, I guess it would really hurt like fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So just, some people don't expect that. Oh, I'm wearing the armor, I'll be fine. They think they're fucking Superman or whatever.
And ideally,
that's not how bullets work.
When you get shot, you are falling down, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Ideally, we could get to the point to where there's a market service for being able to train by getting like intentionally shot with your plates on, like from a safe distance, so that you're not affected by it, but just so that you know what it feels like.
Yeah, you'd probably, in a business, it would probably cut the powder count and just do it at point blank.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, this is something I really wanted to talk about because like we always talk about the importance of, having means of self-defense, but vests are another means of self-defense that are not talked about nearly enough.
We are out of time. Zephyr, thank you again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Episode 41, Beard Talk Live. Peakless, thank you. Thank you to all of our callers.
Thank you, Captain.
And of course, all of our listeners. You can find us in the archives over at freetalklive.com. You can become a Patreon of Free Talk Live, and you will get our podcasts. And also, you can buy T-shirts. Just put Beard Talk Live shirt into your Amazon search bar, and you will find us. Thanks. Peace.